ever catch yourself questioning more?
Like, why do I always parrot everything the US State Department says?
Or why I always ask, do you condemn Hamas, but never Israel?
Why I never said sorry for spreading the debunked Trump Russiagate hoax.
Why I support every illegal war the U.S. has launched this century.
Why I can't stop lying that Joe Biden was young and healthy enough for the presidency.
Why we ignore our rock-bottom ratings and pretend people still want to watch the same old bullshit.
The only reason we're asking
Is because RT generated this video.
And made us do it.
So you'll never get answers, at least not from us.
happy anniversary to RT?
I may be an AI, but there's no way I'm saying that.
It's the homeless left with Matt Weinglass and co-host Craig Pasta Jardula.
Episode 141, Israel won't stop killing.
And a real fake news update. And here's your host, Matt Weinglass.
Welcome. We are back. We are back, guys. Happy Tuesday. I'm Matt Weinglass. This is the Homeless Left here on Rumble. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter X and on Facebook temporarily is the case. So this is the non-tribal approach to news show. We're here Tuesdays and Thursdays all afternoon. We have a great show planned for you guys. I want to welcome everybody that's been part of what we're doing in this non-tribal space, in this non-partisan space, in this critical thinking space. We come here so we can get the most honest assessment and analysis and discussion and dialogue and sometimes discourse and debate in a space where we're not tied to one team winning and another team losing. And when you're able to take those goggles off, those very narrow goggles of tribalism, you take them off, you can start to see the world in a much larger context, from a place of humanity and truth and justice. And we seek those things. We don't necessarily know how to get there all the time, but we are honestly attempting to get there. And that you can count on. That is the consistency. And when you apply principle, you can do it consistently. And it actually makes things easier when you don't have to maneuver and spin and make excuses and ignore stuff because it's not helping your team. You don't have to do that anymore. You're part of our group now, and this is a community. It's not a tribe, so you're free to come and go anytime you'd like. There's no boxes you have to check to get in the room. All you got to do is say, hey, I'm not wearing tribal goggles. That's it. That's the only thing you got to do to get into the room. And the room, again, it's not a tribe, it's a community. And we're homeless from the left. You might be homeless from somewhere else. You might be homeless from the right, from the up, from the down, upside down. It don't matter. We're all homeless together. Okay, so that intro, that was from RT. That was pretty awesome little AI bit. Happy 20 years to RT, by the way. Been fortunate to be able to work with RT and do some honest commentary from the ground here in LA. We are coming to you from Hollywood, California, as we call it, HOLLYWOKE, or Ziowood, whatever you prefer. But we are a real voice, an honest voice coming from the, I guess you could say it's been the entertainment capital of the world. It may no longer be, but certainly it's nice. We like to use this space so we can get our voice out there. So not everyone out there thinks that Hollywood is totally captured. We actually do have honest voices here. So we like to highlight those when we see them. Anyways, yes, happy 20 years to RT. I want to give a shout out to the mother of all talk shows, George Galloway, and guest host Garland Nixon, who got me on over the weekend. We were able to do a really awesome segment about some of the stuff we're going to be talking about today. It was we covered NoKings, we covered some Israel issues, and we got into a little bit of the Charlie Kirk case as well. So we're going to be going through that today. But if you guys haven't had a chance to check that out, it's called Moats, mother of all talk shows. Very honored to have an opportunity to get on there and get the word out about the homeless left and have honest conversations like we had with Garland Nixon. So go check that out, guys, if you haven't yet. And I hope we can get back on there again in the future. We'll be bringing in a co-host, Craig Pasta, at the top of the hour to do some dialogue on, I think we're going to be covering Venezuela today. And like I said earlier, we're going to be talking about Charlie Kirk. We got some more Israel drama with the whole, they just can't stop killing people. They just can't stop. They won't stop. And that's why we called the show Israel Won't Stop Killing. We have a little This Week in Hollywoke. Robert De Niro, he's up to his old TDS again. So we're going to look at that. Gets the best of him again. And we have a little Maha, we know what it's not segment as well later in the show. We'll be talking to you too. So you guys are on our channels right now. You can throw up comments and we will actually have a chance live on the show to talk directly with you during talking back. So let me just throw these up real quick so you guys know where you can find us. If you're on Rumble, this is our home base, The Homeless Left on Rumble. It's been our home base for the last couple of years doing the show. YouTube, we've had to start this channel a little bit more recently because they erased our first channel. The Homeless Left, originally, when we put it up 2 years ago, it no longer exists. They said our conversations were too dangerous for the community. So that's unfortunate. But we keep at it and we just start a new channel. We just call it something different. And we keep having these conversations because obviously words are not violence. You guys know that. That's why we're here. That's why we're discussing. And like I said, we're coming from an honest place. It's okay to have discourse and discussion. It doesn't hurt you to hear a different point of view. It doesn't hurt you. It's not violent. It's not something that you need to shut your ears to. So Google, YouTube, listen up. We're not going anywhere. We're staying right here. The Homeless Left, no matter what name we have to come up with. If you terminate another channel, we'll just come up with another name. And that's how we do it here. Kind of like Michael Scott in The Office. You want to get rid of my one company? I have another one ready to go because I'll never run out of names. Okay, and then you guys can find us on Twitter X, Homeless Left, and my personal, Matt Weinglass. You can also throw comments up there. We'll get to those as well. The ones we can. We can't get to everyone, but we'll do our best. You guys know that that Rumble Rants and Super Chats, Rumble Rants on Rumble, Super Chats on YouTube, go to the front of the line. So you guys want to get one of those in, we'll definitely get to you during the show. Okay, I think that's it for now. It is Tuesday, and you guys know that watch our show regularly. We like to start off Tuesdays with a little real fake news update. Let's do it. It's a real fake news update, not brought to you by Pfizer. Today, we are going to look at the NoKings 2.0 national movement to stop King Trump and the coverage with these rallies and how the mainstream decided to spin this story. Now, disclaimer, we were out there on the ground here in LA, so we can give you firsthand account of what happened. Certainly give you guys the firsthand account from here. But let's start with MSNBC. MSNBC wanted everybody to know how big and massive the event was. And so they decided to show us an aerial shot here in Boston. Let's see what happened out in Boston. Here we go.
Look at this. Millions of people across the country marching as we speak against the policies of President Trump. This is Boston. Look at that. We'll continue to follow these rallies throughout the day here on MSNBC. Wow. All right, coming up.
Oops. I'm getting word that this might have been the wrong footage. Accidentally was aired. Total accident, not on purpose. I'm sure they meant well over there at MSNBC, but apparently How do you know the No Kings protest was a bust? Well, the left is showing videos. I like he says the left. Mainstream, I'll correct you there. Mainstream corporate capture media is showing videos from 2017 trying to convince Americans they were from today. It was that bad. And here is the paper trail of that. There is Republicans against Trump who posted the massive crowd at the No Kings rally in Boston. That's the footage you just watched. And according to the community notes, this is a video from 2017 Boston protest, not the No Kings rally. So that's an unfortunate slip. Would MSNBC apologize for this? Oh, well, in a way, they apologize that the video has expired. So I guess you can't watch it anymore on their channel. So that's one way to apologize for something, I guess. So, and we're sorry here as well on the homo stuff. I did not mean to do that, you guys, and give you that misinformation like that. But look, we're just playing, we're just having fun here. It was I'll say this: the rallies were a success in the sense that the people who planned it got done what they wanted to get done. They actually accomplished their goal. And that was to get half the country to think that something big had happened. And make no mistake, they do think that they accomplished something going out to this thing. Now, look, Trump decided to mock this protest. So we're going to put this, if you guys haven't seen this one, this is his little AI demonstration. And I guess this is for his base. So, there's you can certainly laugh at it, but as far as like how a president should or shouldn't behave, it would be really hard to make this case that this is anything. And I'm going to put the volume down because I think he's got some copyrighted music on there, but this is the thing. If you guys hadn't seen it, Trump posts it right on his own account on Truth Social. And this is manure he is dropping on the heads of protesters. So, yeah, this is, again, like this is out of humor. This is supposed to be funny, but why are we punishing the protesters who aren't actually doing anything wrong? Remember, everyone, you have a constitutional right to protest. This is something that both parties have been guilty of, taking away those rights from the other side. They both are guilty of this. It's something that, unfortunately, this president has shown time and time again that he doesn't apply this principle at all. He wants justice for January 6th protesters, but he wants to attack and shame and bully anti-Trump protesters, not to mention criminalize pro-Palestinian protesters. So you guys know how this works. And there's not enough people calling out both sides of this. And this is the point. Now you have even more division, one side versus the other side. So again, what was needed to be accomplished was accomplished. Okay, so now let's look at some of the things that were actually accomplished during this thing. And I hate to burst your bubble. This is not a people's movement. This is not, as Dr. Shiva has said, this is not a bottom-up movement. I'll give you an example of how we know it wasn't a bottom-up movement. Here is an aerial shot of I guess, what seems to be an organized people getting in a particular formation so they can spell something out. Let's see what they were able to accomplish. The people on the ground. Here we go. Okay, look at that. Very well done. Wow, guys, look at that. No Kings and a little yes on 50. That seems pretty phenomenal that a people's movement pulled that off. Not to mention the helicopter in the air just happened to be, I would assume, owned by a civilian, because this is, again, They want us to think this is a people's movement. So yeah, what an incredible accomplishment. Unfortunately, no, it was not what it looks like, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, I called this out when people were they were really gloating about this. I don't say gloating, but they were really proud. They were really proud that the people pulled this off, which I'm telling you guys is an impossibility to do without massive amount of top-down coordination to get this to happen. So Marco Fosso below me says, wow, protesters created a huge human sign on San Francisco's Ocean Beach, reading "No Kings, Yes on 50" to support California's Prop 50 and stand up against Donald Trump's fascist regime. And I said, yeah, sure. Totally organic, grassroots effort. LOL. Luckily, that helicopter was in the right place at the right time for that perfect shot. The oligarchs must be shaking in their boots. Shaking my head. And if we look closer at what Prop 50 is here in California, it is a direct response to what we know Trump is doing in Texas. It's called you can call it a power grab. What Trump is doing in Texas is he's creating 5 new seats for Texas to have more power for MAGA policies. So what is California doing as a response? They are doing the same thing back. They're saying, if you go through with that in Texas, we're going to do the same power grab in California. And that's what Prop 50 is. So it is a top-down operation making you think that the people created this from the ground up. It's a power grab specifically for Gavin Newsom. That's what it is. And we're getting texts, we're getting bombarded with emails and texts and literature about this thing. And I tell everyone the same thing. If you want to stand up against power grabbing, you stand on principle and you don't do it right back. That's the lesson. You don't do so do if you're in California right now, do not fall for this Prop 50. Vote no. When in doubt on anything, you should always vote no, by the way. Just so you know, if you don't fully understand a bill, don't ever vote yes on something you don't fully understand. Because the worst that can happen is the thing that you don't have, you still don't have, and you didn't hurt anybody by voting no. We're saying this thing is dangerous. Don't do it. It's actually doing exactly what you're mad at Trump about doing. But again, this is the game they play back and forth. Hey, you want another example of a top-down situation here during the No Kings? Well, how about this? And this one strikes a chord pretty close to home here, because another symbol of a people's movement was used and exploited the people in it. Wall Street Apes tweets out, this not absolutely insane? For the No Kings Day protest in Chicago, they had this massive U.S. Constitution, We the People prop. No normal American could ever afford to have something like this made. This is the clearest example of the massive funding behind the paid protest. Here's an aerial shot. Again, not a bottom-up movement. This is a top-down demonstration. And this is when people ask, where does the money get spent on? What do you mean billionaires are funding this? Billionaires are funding this. We'll get to that in a second. But this is the type of items that are spent when it is a top-down movement. That music off. This is what it looked like in Chicago. This is not organic. There's a lot of money being spent here, as Wall Street Apes points out, to get this type of visual display and pretend that it's actually a We the People movement, which does kind of strike us close to home. As you guys know, Jay Scott and I have been working with the actual We the People party, which wants nothing to do with this corporate captured, NATO funded, and we're going to get to that soon, the war part of this thing, which the mainstream media will not cover. So no, this is not We the People. This is We the Corporations. That's what this is. Let's look at some other stuff the money was spent on besides big old displays and Thanksgiving Macy's parade crap. This is The branding, which also costs money because you have to get very sophisticated propaganda people in place so they can coordinate everything from mantras to slogans to color designs. This is what they came up with. Okay, so if you guys can see this is important. And if you guys were out there and you saw the yellow, let's break it down. They're telling us why we wear yellow. Historical context. They talk about protesters in Hong Kong, in Asia. But look at this, Eastern Ukraine. And by the way, we've had funding in all of these so-called protesting. What they claim to be people's movement is not a people's movement. We always go and infiltrate other countries and their governments and pretend that we're fighting a war against someone else that's powerful, like Eastern Ukraine. So look at this third one. Eastern Ukraine, the Yellow Ribbon Movement reclaimed the color as a signal of resistance and national self-determination amid invasion. So this is on behalf of NATO to align the color coordination of NoKings with NATO policy. And at the bottom it says, by choosing yellow, we align ourselves with this historical context. It is a visible, optimistic banner that carries the weight of democratic struggle, nonviolent dissent, and a reminder that power must stem from the people, not from crowns. Very well put together. These guys are very good, but you have to look closer to understand what's really going on. Now let's look at the funding. So the billionaires who funded this operation, this national operation, MJ Truth Ultra shared this out, and you guys can see the source. There's an entire catalog of funders, but these are the main ones. Holy shizzles. NoKings financials released. The financiers. Arabella, 79 million. Warren Buffett, 16 million. Ford, 51 million. Rockefeller, 26 million. Soros, 72 million. Tides, 45 million. And you add that all up, it's almost $300 million spent on a organic people's bottom-up movement to fight the oligarchy. So strange. And what you get for that, what you get for your money, is a very specific engineered chant of stop the king, Emperor Trump, Nazi Trump, with no mention of stopping the military-industrial complex. That is the main problem here. There's no mention of that. And that should be the main thing, because if you want to talk about power corrupting and fascist policies, it always includes imperialism. That is the thing that is deliberately left out. Don't take my word for it. Let's listen. Let's see what happened to Code Pink when they tried to align with some pro-Palestinian protesters, because you might be thinking, oh, well, what's the problem if they don't want to focus on free Palestine and they don't want to focus on, stopping war in Venezuela from stopping a proxy war in Ukraine? Who cares? Why don't you just be inclusive, man? Why do you have to be so, just show up and bring your sign? And I'm sure it'll be received well. Even though it wasn't on the itinerary, I'm sure people will receive it well. Well, it wasn't quite received that well with Medea Benjamin. Watch what happened to these guys when they tried to align with pro-Palestinian sentiment at the NoKings rally. Here we go.
Oh, it's about our don't put your hands on her. In a public place. News is just going to take a beautiful picture of this and paint us all as, like we're pro-humanity,
pro-anti-genocide, pro-humanity.
Right, but it's the wrong. You're at the wrong event, dude.
I don't think so.
I'm sorry.
Why do you think this is the wrong message here?
Because this is NoKings. This is about the United States. This is about our democracy. Don't put that thing on.
Whoa!
It's about our democracy.
Don't put your hands on her.
You're in a public place.
Okay, don't.
You're in a public
I'm
place.
just saying.
If you don't want to talk to him, but you just went up and yelled at him. Whoa.
by the way, I just want to say that the bombs haven't stopped. I just watched 11 people get massacred this morning, and Israel has violated the ceasefire dozens of times, as we knew they would. So that's also why we're out here.
Why was that woman so hostile to you?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm just out here for humanity and for Palestinians who are still being genocided, still occupied. There's still apartheid. So to be honest with you, I'm baffled. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I guess she's pro-genocide. NoKings pro-genocide.
Seems like, yeah, exactly.
So that was very bold and brave, and I'm glad that got out to a lot of people. But it's very rare to have anybody out there, and we try to talk to people out there. I'm telling you guys, they didn't really have too much to articulate, other than the here in California. I will say there were a few people that did articulate the ICE raid problem and Trump deploying the military during the ICE raids. And this would be not just LA. I'm sure there's some of that going on in Chicago and Portland and DC. But other than that one issue, you really saw this massive disconnect nationwide of what people were even out there for, other than we don't like Trump. I'm not putting these next ones up to make fun of these people. I want you guys to understand that this is what happens when you get tribalized and you're told what to do next. This is a woman getting asked why she's out protesting against Trump. Look what happens.
Out today.
No King's Day.
And why specifically are you out supporting No King's Day?
I think protest is important.
Why are you protesting?
How much time do you have?
A couple minutes. And what's the main reason you're out here protesting President Trump?
I agree with a lot of the decisions that are being made.
Is there any decision in particular you disagree with?
Okay, so I would start with, well, I don't even think it's appropriate for me to have this interview.
So obviously a lot of people thought that was funny, and it is kind of funny, but more in a tragic way. I think it's funny in a tragic way because there's more people like her than they are somebody that I'm, and I'm telling you, these other people exist. There's just few of them that can articulate to you what the demand is. And you guys understand, any good protest has to have demands. The Palestinian protests are good protests. They have demands. By the way, you can tell the difference between top down and bottom up because the mainstream doesn't embrace an actual bottom up movement. They don't. And I'm not talking about Fox and CNN. They coordinate each other. And I'm going to get to Fox in a second. They coordinate with each other as far as each of them have their own problems, their own spin. But neither of them are going to be getting the backs of actual bottom-up movement. Whereas in this case, you have this coordinated effort of Fox bashing on these people and MSNBC and CNN raising them up and pretending that Hillary Clinton promoting your event means you're challenging power, which makes no sense. And Fox is also guilty of being dishonest because they could be saying what we're saying here on this show, and they're not. So I'm going to show you one more example, and this one kind of went viral, and I do feel bad for this kid. But again, it's one more example of the people in the street not fully understanding why they're there, other than an emotional tug at the heartstrings to get them to do the thing that everybody's doing. Check this one out.
Bitch.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. We don't like him. That's the word around here.
Any particular reason why you don't like him?
No clue at all. I'm just going with everybody else saying.
No clue at all. I'm just going with what everyone else is saying. And again, I'm not trying to make fun of the kid. I'm saying that there's a lot of that out there. And so you would hope that Fox News, because their job is to bash these people, you would hope that they could have a more thoughtful take, the way we're trying to have here, on why this is happening. And it's because of the corporate capture, and it's because of a narration that's designed to stop people from getting angry about the real stuff, which is the war machine, the Greater Israel Project, U.S. imperialism, Trump trying to start a war with Venezuela, which both parties are for. By the way, both parties are for that. And if they weren't, you'd be hearing about it You'd be hearing MSNBC, CNN saying, no, we can't have Trump act like a king and attack Venezuela. They're not saying that because that would be too honest. And they don't want you to equate war policies with king. They want it to be a feeling that just feels like this kid and the woman I just showed you. So here is Fox News being dishonest about the people at the rally. They're going to try and tell you that everybody there is paid, which is completely absurd because you can get people to show up for free just by pulling on their heartstrings. So this is completely ridiculous, but this is what's going on Fox right now.
Jesse, which I thought was really interesting, is initially in New York, that's where I was. You had thousands of people that were there. So yes, there was quite a large crowd. But then as soon as 1-2 hours passed by, the entire crowd completely dissipated, kind of like they were off the clock and they all just disappeared. It was really baffling to me because I have covered protests extensively for years at this point, and I have never seen a protest dissipate this fast.
That's interesting. Maybe they were on the clock. Usually these things kind of organically dissipate, but that is very strange.
Maybe they were on the clock. So just speculation. It's designed to plant seeds in their audience's heads that, maybe we shouldn't trust these people. When that's not the actual honest commentary. The honest assessment here is that they're being brainwashed, manipulated, and controlled, not by a paycheck, but by a sentiment that we have to stop. One side has to stop the other, and they're going to come out for free, and they're not going to know fully why they're there other than they think it's the right thing to do. Meanwhile, on MSNBC, what are they doing? They're not calling out the war with Venezuela or the Ukraine proxy war or this ceasefire deal that was complete joke. And Trump not just botched it, but helped enable Israel to continue the genocide. You're not hearing any of that. What you're hearing is the opposite. Check this out.
To go after a couple of boats. Yeah. This is about regime change, which, by the way, I think is potentially a good thing, given how Maduro has run Venezuela into the ground, how he stole an election, and the rest. So when we get involved in Latin America, it doesn't always turn out. That's why I said in principle. Yeah. This is there's a complicated backstory. Yeah.
They always tell you that it's complicated, but we have to do the right thing. So this is the same circle that sits around and tells you how amazing the protests were and plays you footage from Boston 2017 and tells you what an amazing turnout to stop Emperor Trump. Meanwhile, they got a guest coming on, an ex-CIA guy, telling you that we have to overthrow Maduro. And they're not going to push back. They're looking like they're in class, learning a thing about geopolitics. So they don't know. They're journalists, apparently, working at MSNBC, but they need a little history lesson and a little, it's complicated. It's complicated. So that's what the news stations are doing. That's how they're all coordinating this effort to keep us confused, divided, pulling on our emotional heartstrings and not knowing what's actually going on in the world, and that both parties are part of the problem. And if that's not enough to get your attention, if that's not enough to get you go, what is really going on? How about this shot of Nancy Pelosi trying to do some symbolism with a crown when she's been how many years in office? How many years has she been in office? Let's put that up. Let's put that up against how long a king or a queen reigns for in the UK. Well, this is what Nancy Pelosi's doing.
Drop the crown.
Yeah, tear that crown up. As you're a lifer. You will never, you will be in that office, not just to the day you die. They will weekend at Bernie's your ass and keep you in for another 2 years after that. That's what you're doing. So if you guys don't see the twisted irony in this, I don't know what else I can tell you, but that's again, this is the theater we live in. It's all fake. All the news it's not real. It's all real fake news. And I'll end this real fake news with I do have to say Alex Jones got one thing right. Alex Jones got one thing right. This. The British people are out protesting against the mandatory digital ID control grid. They are rejecting tyranny. This is real, organic, populist resistance. It is literally the polar opposite of No Kings.
Keep up the good work, Alice. Thank you. Well done, everyone. When I saw him.
So if you really want to be part of a bottom-up movement, get in the street for this, because this is something we could all get behind. This is not about red and blue and black and white and MAGAs and Kamalas and women and LGBT and Black Lives Matter. This is about the people coming together and fighting the oligarchy in a real movement. And that's what a real bottom-up movement looks like. And this has been a real fake news update, not brought to you by Pfizer. Okay, we're moving on. I have one more story we're going to cover before we bring Craig Pasta in with us. Yeah, let's go ahead and get to yes, we're going to do one more story here. Okay. Here we go. All right. All right, guys. Why aren't the pro-Palestinian protesters celebrating a ceasefire? Because we knew the whole time the ceasefire was never, ever going to work. It was never going to last. In fact, it's worse. It was always a ploy to get more support, more justification for Israel's crimes. Let's hear Netanyahu try to explain to us the situation and why he has to drop more bombs on Gaza, literally just days since this deal was made. And even in those first few days, we're talking about the murder of Palestinians every single day. They didn't even go 24 hours without murdering a Palestinian. But yeah, let's hear his justification of why we need to punish Hamas now. Forget the deal. Let's punish them. Yesterday, we saw Hamas blatantly violating the ceasefire agreement. Oh, did we now? Well, tell us. Well, to our sorrow, 2 fighters fell during the ceasefire. Okay. First Sergeant Yavetz, may his memory be blessed. Hamas immediately felt the weight of our arm. We attacked it with 153 tons of bombs. 153 tons of bombs. Say it twice. Say it twice for us. So what he is talking about is a setup. That was a setup. Hamas didn't violate the ceasefire. They tried it with the dead bodies. You guys remember that one? We covered that one last week. But he said, oh, we returned the 20 hostages. So that was the deal. They go, well, where's the dead bodies? Well, we can't get them because you bombed and you turned our entire city into a parking lot. And we can't get under the rubble to the bodies. So they tried that one. That one didn't fully go over well. So now what they had to do was set up a situation where it was actually Israel soldiers who ran a tank over these were like landmines or preset bombs that didn't go off yet, and they killed themselves accidentally, and they used that as an opportunity to say Hamas did it, and now we're going to bomb the crap out of them. One thing I do like is, and I was going to share this with you from our end, but what I saw, and this is always a good thing. This is always a good thing when you have right and left people coming together to discuss this. And so we saw Ryan Grimm went on Matt Gaetz' show and broke this down. So let's watch a little bit of Ryan Grimm's coverage on this. And I really think this is a good thing, bringing these audiences together, because at the end of the day, we are all on the same side here. So let's hear a little of this. And he's going to, Ryan Grimm's going to break this down about why Netanyahu is, again, lying to us about the justification of dropping more bombs.
And what are you learning regarding the impetus for this violence in Rafah? We've got a map here of the site in question, so walk us through your observations.
Yeah, so on Sunday, the IDF reported that there had been an RPG attack right here if you look at the screen there at what used to be the Rafah airport. It's still called the Rafah airport. It hasn't operated in some time now. They also said that some snipers had come out, that the IDF was trying to clear a tunnel, and that some fighters may have been hiding out in this tunnel. But what's important for people to understand when they look at this map here is look how far behind enemy lines this Rafah airport is. So you have IDF positions right nearby. You have absolute moonscape rubble as far as the eye can see. And you don't have a tunnel network that connects to the rest of Gaza from there. So there are two possibilities here if the IDF story is accurate. Either some Hamas fighters managed to somehow sneak through this rubble for many kilometers, get behind the enemy lines, and then launch an ambush, or that just days after agreeing to a ceasefire, or they've been hiding out in this tunnel for 8 months at this point, because the IDF has controlled this area for roughly 8 months at this point. How they would be provisioned, food and water. So those are the two credible possibilities. Now, what I was told by a source familiar with this situation is that shortly after this happened, the Americans had intelligence that what happened was that a bulldozer that was operated by a kind of settler company that is destroying homes in Rafah, the homes that remain standing, had run over either unexploded ordnance or some type of improvised explosive device that had not detonated during the fighting that had taken place in Rafah many months ago, and that the United States then relayed to Israel that they had this intel, that this is what had happened, that we know there's enormous amount, there are IEDs and there's an enormous amount of unexploded ordnance from shells in particular, but also from bombs dropped from the sky that hasn't blown up, and when a bulldozer runs over that, it might blow up, and that's what happened. And
well, hold on, I want to draw a fine point on that, Ryan, because if that's true, it would seem to suggest that White House officials believe Israel has lied to them. Is that what you're reporting?
Yeah, that's what he's reporting. Exactly. That's it. That's what he's saying. And Ryan Grimm, I mean, look, he's doing a good work on this, but he does have a history of, stuttering through his reporting and not coming out and just saying it. So good for Matt Gaetz saying, dude, just clarify in case some of the audience fell asleep during your kind of droning on there. You're telling us that the White House knows that it's bullshit. Yes. And they're letting, not only letting Netanyahu get away with this bombing campaign, but they're amping it up. And this is what the mainstream is reporting, is that the Trump administration is trying to help save this deal. But what they're doing is justifying more attacking and basically eliminating Hamas, which is not a ceasefire. That's not a ceasefire when one side says ceasefire and the other side says surrender. That's not a ceasefire. That's the thing that they've been fighting for the last 2 years, not to surrender, not to give up, but to have a deal. And so this is why then the mainstream's guilty of it. So good for Matt Gaetz to say, please explain this. And this is why we know this is completely illegal. Israel has just bombed a school that people are using as a shelter. Children were killed. This violates the ceasefire agreement and Article 52 of additional protocol, Geneva Conventions, but international law clearly doesn't apply to Israel. And we know it doesn't apply to them. Otherwise, you'd be hearing about consequences of this right now, and everybody would be reporting on it. But instead, what do we get? We get Israeli National Security Minister Ben-Gvir telling us, and he's going to say this in Hebrew, so I'm going to translate this. So what he's going to be saying here in Hebrew is, now that we have received the hostages, we must return to war and open the gates of hell upon Gaza, which you're watching happen in real time. Here he is saying it.
ולהפך, אנחנו כרגע יכולים, יש לנו כרגע את ההזדמנות, במיוחד היום הזה, לעצור הכל, להגיד, רגע, החטופים ברוך השם החיים חזרו, זה היה עיקר הטענה למה אנחנו לא ממשיכים את המלחמה, ועכשיו צריך לחזור ללחימה, צריך לחזור למלחמה, צריך להוריד עליהם שערי גיהנום. אגב, עם טורקיה, בלי טורקיה, עם קטר, בלי קטר. בעיניי זה לא פחות נורא שאם הטורקים לא יהיו שם, אבל ייסעו שם ג'יפים של חמאס, לזה פיללנו, בשביל זה חיילים שלנו הלכו לקרב.
Again, no subtitles on the screen, but the actual translation is, now that we have received the hostages, we must return to war and open the gates of hell upon Gaza. So they're telling you out loud. They always tell you the truth in Hebrew, and then they lie in English. But that is what they're doing. And there's nobody in mainstream is reporting on this accurately at all. So what do we have to work with? We have whatever journalists that are left alive that are able to get us this information. As you guys know, they've done everything they can to stop that from happening. Israel not allowing journalists into the area, into Gaza. Some of them are able to get into the West Bank. I'm going to show you this one because we saw this very, very brave journalist who's in the West Bank right now reported this out in the last day here, and I think this is deserving of some attention. This journalist, here he is. His name is Jasper Nathaniel, and he's currently reporting from the ground in the occupied West Bank. Here is his story. On October 19th, the first day of the olive harvest, the Israeli Defense Force leads a group of farmers directly into a brutal ambush by armed settlers. These people need to be in prison by tomorrow, and the people of this village and all across Palestine need to be protected. Enough is enough. And here's what happened. There was a brutal settler attack. He was right there, right in the olive fields, and there were many injuries. They got one on camera. It's this woman that was knocked unconscious with a club and beaten repeatedly. In the second photo, you can see her lying there. So this journalist captured this incident. The IDF has lured us into an ambush, and I have all it on video. So he says he will update it as soon as he has good service. And he did manage to get the service. So we're going to just check out what Jasper was able to upload. And it's pretty scary what he had to go through. Here we go, guys.
What are we? Right behind us. Oh, he's right here. He's right about to smash her with. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Get ready. Yeah, there it is. All right, the door's locked. Oh, fuck. You got it. Oh, come on. Don't fucking hit her. Hey! Oh, my God. Hey! Hey!
There it is. There it is. And obviously, these guys know that there is a journalist that is capturing this. So is he safe? No, it doesn't look like he's safe at all. There was a part 2 to this. He was able to get up. This is the next part where he actually goes to try and tend to this woman. Courage, courage, courage. Capturing and assisting at the same time, in complete danger and not a safe situation at all for a journalist. And we know this. And look what happens when Jasper reaches out. to the U.S. Embassy. Hey, we need American protection. We are Americans. Well, unfortunately, we simply can't do that. Much as I might personally like to, we haven't got the manpower to protect the nearly 60,000 American Palestinians, and legally we're not permitted. I am American tourist. Well, unfortunately, no. The protection of American citizens is always the responsibility of the host nation government, which is why we pull our embassies out of places that host nation can't or won't protect them. Give us examples: Syria, Iran, Yemen, Venezuela, etc. Are you implying that the Israeli government will protect me and the other Americans here? I don't understand. The IDF led us directly into an ambush. Yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. And here is the ambush that Jasper was referring to. And he's barely running away from this. So here's one more shot we got of him posted. He posted here. Here we go. That's him in front filming. So we got some footage from someone else filming this. Oh, there we go. That's him right there. He got out just in time. This was the ambush. This was the ambush. So that's that. That's that. This is an ongoing battle of information. It's a war on censorship. It's a war on humanity, and the mainstream continues to justify the behavior of this administration, of Israel, ignoring journalists like Jasper, as he's barely able to get out of there alive and get this information out to us. We commend him. You guys go give him a follow. We have to as well. I haven't followed him. I gotta do that. Jasper Nathaniel, currently reporting from the ground in occupied West Bank. And one reminder for you guys, how the timeline works when you are a Zionist. When you're a Zionist, you don't have to account for anything. Like this. Look at how many times AIPAC has told us as soon as the hostages were free, this will be over. As soon as the hostages are free, it'll be over. As soon as the hostages are free, this war will be over. As soon as the hostages are free, this war will be over. As soon as the hostages are free, this war will be over. As soon as the hostage, you're starting to get the point. So all that out the window. All that out the window, because it was never about the hostages. It was never about October 7th. It was never about, do you condemn Hamas? It was never about Israel has a right to defend itself. It was never about any of that. But we figured that out. Okay. I have to change my resolution here. Hold on. Let me fix this. There. Okay. That was a little glitch there. Okay. That's that. So we'll obviously keep you guys up on this and why Israel just won't stop killing people. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on with the show. Without further ado, let's bring in our co-host today. You know him, you love him. Please welcome back to the show, Craig Pasta Jardula. Hey, Craig.
I'd like to say, Matt, before we get started, as soon as the hostages are free, this will all be over.
Thanks for clarifying that, Pasta, because we take all that seriously. And yeah, that's clearly, yeah.
And by the way, don't think I didn't catch a little Bernie impression when you said Israel has a right to defend itself. You were halfway there, but I caught it, you know. Israel,
yeah, I wasn't even. It's just you hear him. I can hear him in the back of my mind. I can't get it out of my head. It's just the guy that we got.
Absurd. And everybody needs to understand this right now, that they're doing this on our dime, right? We are the ones who are okaying this. We are making this happen. We are allowing it to happen. It doesn't happen unless we allow it to happen. And don't tell me out there that, oh, man, we don't have any power. They're going to do what we want to do. Bullshit. When they're afraid of us, then they listen. The problem is they're not afraid of us because we're so divided and we're looking at each other, Matt.
Yeah, that is. But this is why we're here. This is why we do the show. This is why we do our shows. This is why we have to have these discussions over and over and over again.
Maybe why you do the show. I do it for the ladies.
Of course.
Okay.
Right. Well,
I'm in it all for the chicks. That's it. The fame and the chicks, you know?
Love it. All
Love
right,
you, buddy. And I'm very happy. I don't know if you made the announcements. I wasn't watching the first part of the show. I had to, take care of my responsibilities and get mom's dinner ready. But seeing you on Moats and getting to watch that clip was awesome. I haven't been on Moats. I told you that. Maddie's going to start helping me now, right, man? Get me booked on some of these fucking things, Matt. But great job, man. It's been a fucking pleasure to be alongside of you, your progression, your growth, you making the Homeless Left a place where people can go to. And it hasn't even caught on yet. Wait until it catches on. I think the shows that we'll bring to the table, a lot of the stuff we were right on, Fiorella included, are going to be selling like hotcakes at one point. And by the way, congratulations to Nico House on his daughter. I didn't even call him yet. He's going to be so mad, but he just had a daughter. He's got 2 children now and a third where he's kind of like a godfather, stepfather too. So congratulations to him on his baby girl.
Awesome. And thanks for the support here, man. And like all the, help getting us where we are now. And I do feel like, it's always good advice you're getting from you. And it's just surrounding yourself with good people. I think that's really important. And that's what keeps us going. It's the people we surround ourselves with. And I think that's for any industry or anything anybody's involved with. If you're not surrounded by good people, that has to be the first priority. Once you do that, then you can figure out where you fit, where you're going, what the journey is. But how you can't have the journey without the good people around you. So
that's true. You. But I think the people you kind of, hang with, right? With what is that book that Phil Jackson wrote? Like you are the version of the top 10 people you hang out with the most or whatever and stuff like that. I think a lot that has to do with the work that's being done. I said to you from the get-go, Matt, don't worry about anything other than the work. If you stick to the work, if you're honest to your guns, people will listen and they'll appreciate the job you're doing for them because it's a valuable necessity we need right now. This is a necessity. We need honest media right there. And if you are just honest to what's going on and don't care about the clicks or what cool person you get to hang with or be with or whatever, then you'll be fine. Because like most of the people in this industry are full of shit. Unfortunately, it's driven by ego. But we're driven by the actual truth and being the fourth estate, the fourth estate, as Fiorella like to said, to bring you people the news. So thank you for bringing me along on this journey. I think it's awesome the way we met, and I am looking forward to having a great show today.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's dive in to Venezuela. This is not
What's
going
on
away.
over there?
Oh, it's a little bit of trying to overthrow a president. Same old. Come up with a storyline that makes people get angry and excited and ready. And as Noam Chomsky says, manufacture consent. So they're pulling out all the stops. Just a refresher, guys. This is what's happening. Trump's Venezuela operation expands in the dark. And I actually have to disagree with the headline. It's not in the dark. It's pretending to be in the dark. And then all the media is giving us as if it's this like, we're going to give you this secret. No, they want it to come out like it's a secret, but it's not. U.S. military has killed at least 32 people in 7 strikes off the coast of Venezuela without telling Congress or the American people who was killed or on what evidence. Big picture, U.S. is 8 weeks into a military campaign in the Caribbean Sea with the twin aims of stopping drugs and potentially toppling Venezuela dictator Nicolas Maduro. Those are the 2 reasons, Craig. There's no other reason, and those aren't lies. Those aren't bald-faced lies. There's no other reason you could even think of that we'd want to topple Maduro. But those are the ones they're giving us, so I'm not going to think about anything else. Just drugs and dictator. Drugs and dictator. Okay, I'm all wired up. I'm ready to support this thing. So so the scene here, so the Trump, he deployed all these warships. There were spy planes, fighter jets, bombers, drones, all this crap, all off the coast. Last week, Trump confirmed he authorized, and this is why I don't think this isn't kind of covert. This is him. This is the point, was to say hey, and to brag about it and to show us that these operations did go through with the B-52s. And it's not just the CIA, it's all of our intelligence capabilities. An insider discussed about the operations. The U.S. knows where Maduro is. Oh, and this is the little game they play. We could kill him right now if we wanted to.
Sure, you can.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you've tried a number of times, and you tried to do it with Chavez before him.
Castro, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, right. Yeah. This is
how many times they tried to kill Castro? He died of old age.
Yep. And Chavez died of cancer. So there you go. You weren't able to actually murder these guys. So, and yeah, Maduro looks like he's heading in that same direction. After an unexpected and unexplained departure of Southcom Commander Alvin Hosley, the cadis of strikes at sea on land in Venezuela could increase. Well, we know it's increasing. That's the point. So let's look at the latest strike. And this footage was being broadcast and shared on social media by our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. But here's the report on it.
Apparently, of what just happened. Now, this is courtesy of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. This is the video.
Secretary of War, get it right.
That he shared from his post, and you can see what appears to be a vessel exploding in flames. You can also see the word unclassified at the top of this video. So we did want to share this with you as Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth just sharing this update. This comes as President Trump has declared drug cartels be unlawful combatants. And he says that the U.S. is now in an armed conflict with them. That is according to a Trump administration memo. So this memo appears to represent this incredible assertion where President Trump is effectively declaring that trafficking of drugs into the U.S. amounts to armed conflict requiring the use of military force. The memo says, quote, the president determined that the United States is in a non-international armed conflict with these designated.
And that was all wrong. These are not, we know who some of the people that were killed. The Guardian reported that 2 Trinidad men were believed to be killed. That actually got checked out. That got verified in this latest strike in the Caribbean. And they're saying there needs to be accountability. There needs to be due process, and they're demanding justice. These are 2 of the family members of 2 people that were killed. Had nothing to do with Venezuela or drug trafficking or anything. They were fishermen. Same thing happened on August 15th. This is a full report on the Colombian public media that reports that the strike on before that on the 15th of September also took out at least one of the 3 victims were confirmed to be a fisherman, Alexandra Carranza. And that identity was confirmed by his cousin. So they just keep murdering innocent people and not having to account for it. Before you chime in, Craig, I'm going to just show, this is Samuel Moncada showing us what a scam this is and holding up the Guardian headline of the people, the innocent people that our U.S. president is murdering with no accountability to show for it.
The Guardian, a newspaper in Trinidad and Tobago, denouncing the killings of 2 humble fishermen yesterday or the day before in Trinidad. I mean, there is a killer roaming around the Caribbean, is bloodthirsty, is killing everyone which is on the sea working, and people from different countries, Colombia, Trinidad, etc., are suffering the effects of these massacres.
And there you have it. The world knows what's happening. The world's watching. We're the only ones that are apparently so stuck in our team, stuck in our blinders. We think it's all about NoKings, and we have no clue that our entire Western media is in on this, and nobody on CNN or MSNBC, which you would think would be challenging this, they're all for it. They're all for, let's take out this dictator. Pasta, is any of this surprise you?
You know, I'm not too surprised, however, I am surprised by the reaction. And we had this conversation earlier today about what level of hero worshiping or team sports, what level are we at currently right now? Are the Republicans, the populist right, the Trumpers of sorts, are they acting the same manner as, let's say, a Joe Biden or a Barack Obama? where we were around a lot of those people in that clan at one point because we were believed that we were, lefties, whatnot, the compassionate ones, the anti-imperialist ones, before we realized the Democratic Party wasn't that. But when you see this situation, you got to ask yourself, why is this okay? If you talk to a Trumper and say, why is this okay? They'll give you the list of reasons that the Secretary of War, and by the way, great job of announcing his proper title, that that journalist or that political commentator or special TV person, interchangeable talking mouth, didn't get it right, because that's what they want to call themselves. And that's the mentality right there. And, it's very easy to propagandize people. And I got to say this, it's the same exact thing we see on the left. We see it right now on the right. They go along with things that are against the Constitution, what our principles are supposed to stand for. I mean, what's on that piece of paper, the marketing, it's some good marketing. However, we never follow it. And whoever's in office, they'll just go along with doing what they think is right. And further along, at the end of the day, when you take away civil liberties, when you commit crimes on immigrants or foreigners, it never stops there. The chickens will always come home to roost and happen to us. So why is it okay? Right? And you hear all the reasons out there. No, they're bringing fentanyl in there. I was looking at my phone over here. I was pulling up a map just to see with my own eyes the distance it is between Venezuela and, the United States. It is so far. Now, you can make an argument that they're going to send it to Haiti, and through Haiti, they're going to send it to there and go whatever and stuff like that. But they're blowing up these vessels without any due process, without any evidence that they're presenting to us, and just saying the language is there again, right, Matt? I mean, the right does the same thing as the left. These are narco-terrorists. These vessels are so far away from our country or getting any drugs. And they're speedboats. How much drugs are they really bringing in anyways? I know people go, oh, in the hull and this and that. No, they're killing fishermen. They're killing locals. There's all these little islands in Venezuela, and all these speedboats go right through all these islands all the time. They just move them back and forth, where people do commerce and move goods and services, so you have to ask yourself, why are they doing this? We have to ask the people, why is it okay? And we have to hit them there. All the constitutionalists, right? Aren't we supposed to stand for due process? Isn't that the thing that's the backbone of what America stands for? Hey, we're civilized. We're not like any other countries where these dictators, these authoritarians, they're the ones who judge people. We're different. We give you your due process. You're innocent until proven guilty. You have a right to make a claim of your innocence, to state your case. But we're not even doing that. So we understand that they're wrong by saying it's okay, because once again, it's their thoughts, it's their ideology. They can piss and shit all over the Constitution as long as it's their team and it's for their needs. But we also have to ask ourselves, why are they doing this? Well, I would say, Matt, and people have to kind of look at this, is that it's another form of sanctions and turning the country against each other. They want to make it so people can't live, and they're starving them out. Now they can't move from island to island, moving goods and services around, can't make money, whatnot. They want to shut it down. They want to make the conditions so bad that the people will overturn their government. And just like every single president is told by the CIA, they're this close, Matt. They're going to buckle. We're going to get it. They've been talking about that shit for Chavez and Maduro for years. They were talking about that shit with Fidel Castro for years. So this is why I think they're doing it. And this information has to be brought to light. And then we have to also talk about on the flip side. Well, if we look at all the reasons why they are doing it, why they say it's okay, the people out there, why are so many people addicted to fentanyl in the first place? We know it's big pharma. Yeah. I'm sure we'll get there. But there's all these reasons, all these talking points. And the shame about it is the language that the TV is using, the people on the TV screen, they're using the same propagandized CIA regime change, industrial complex language that they always use. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. You were doing that segment on what was going on in the West Bank, what was going on in Israel and stuff. It's disgusting. It's happening on our dime. We have blood on our hands. Well, in Venezuela, we got dynamite on our hands as we're blowing up these boats, and there's no justification, Matt.
Yeah. Let's look closer at the fentanyl situation here, because this, again, this is a scam. You guys, if you understand how the war on drugs works, is that we fund the operations, the CIA, we are the ones responsible for the entire thing, for the crack epidemic in the 80s. The list is so long. We create the border crisis with this. We create these situations where there are refugees that have to leave these places that we try to overthrow, and we blame them for drug cartel, illegitimate presidents. So we're just going through the same blueprint. The only difference between what we do in these Latin American countries versus Middle East, the only difference is you can't blame Maduro for weapons of mass destruction. So you call him a illegitimate drug cartel king that we have to take out.
Narco terrorist.
Yes, terrorist. Yes, drug terrorist. And then you put the fentanyl thing in play. And this is how they do it. And they can get the Fox News audience. They're the first ones to sign up for this. Here's Eric Trump on Fox, getting the Fox News audience very scared of fentanyl coming from Venezuela. Here we go.
Now, every single time a boat goes out of Venezuela, it's get blown up into a million pieces, Martha. That's exactly what's happening every single day. I personally have 4 friends that have lost children to fentanyl. This is real life for all of us. I mean, there's.
So that's just a little, planting a seed. I went over to CNN to see what they're doing on CNN, and you got Scott Jennings doubling down on this in this table discussion. It's pretty brutal what he tries to justify here. Again, CNN, if you guys think they're this middle of the road covering all sides, no, this is the war machine in action. Listen to Scott Jennings. Here we go.
Venezuela is a different kind of country. It's not really a real country. It's a narco-terrorist state. In his first term, he unleashed economic sanctions on them. We put a bounty on Maduro. I mean, we did all the things short of going to war with Venezuela to stop them from importing drugs into the United States. It did not work. They have continued to be a narco-terrorist state. They continue to flood drugs into the United States and dangerous people. And so one of the things about the America First movement and the MAGA movement is in Middle America, they believe our government has not taken a hard enough line against people who have put deadly drugs into this country. They promised this. And honestly, I think he's going to have a lot of political support for stopping these narco-terrorists.
So, yeah, that's going to be continued. That verbiage is going to continue on.
What did she say? Do you have the rest of that thing? I want to see.
Oh, you want to hear her try
to?
Yeah.
Because Scott
Jennings, this is that. You know what? Let me
channel, right?
Her response is very interesting. Okay, let's hear it, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, here we go.
Be what Trump says, not blaming it on drug trafficking, which is a relatively minor issue compared to drug trafficking.
What's that?
I missed the beginning of what she said. It was broken up. I'm so sorry. Yeah, good. Look at Chuck Rocha, by the way.
And honestly, I think he's going to have a lot of political support for stopping these narco-terrorists.
That should be what Trump says, not blaming it on drug trafficking, which is a relatively minor issue compared to drug trafficking that comes from Mexico.
Well, how much do you want to accept? I think you're downplaying.
I know, it's not a how much do you want to accept.
I think you're downplaying.
Where is the problem coming from? And it's coming from Mexico.
I think you're.
So you see how she's doing? She's doing the stop making up about Venezuela. It's really Mexico. Where we're saying you're going, no, all of it is we're the one. She'll never mention. Nobody in that table is going to mention the CIA creating this problem in all the countries. That's the problem. No one's going to say that.
And she's selling a lie too, as well, that Mexico and the cartels are producing fentanyl and bringing in. I'm sure there are some fentanyl that they are bringing in, but it's not coming in across the border. This isn't smuggled in a woman right now. You know what I'm saying? And like we've talked about this before, fentanyl is easy to make. It's not like speed. It's very easy. All you have to do is get the minerals and the materials. A lot of it does come from China. Hey, 95% of the drugs in the hospital business, in the pharmacy field, in the medical field, come from 95% of the drugs come from the ground in China. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but to be honest with you, number one, we have to talk about why there's so many people are addicted to the fentanyl situation to begin with, right? Which is big pharma. Their doctors, a man in a white suit, gives you some opioids, stimulants, whatnot. Yep. They say, this is the problem. Take this pill. You get addicted. Then they cut you off. And then you have to go out and find shit for yourself. So that's the problem. Mexico, once again, she's trying to say it's coming in from Latin America. So her answer to me is worse than his answer because he's just giving you the bullshit lines trying to sell you that stuff. She's just telling you another CIA. She's in a way justifying it by trying to pick this fake fight and saying, well, it's coming in from Mexico. This is the problem. No, it's not. That's another CIA fucking tale. Whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't it genius that you can get a CNN audience to think that this is an honest debate happening and you're getting both sides? It's pretty remarkable. They pull this off. And a lot of people, whoever still watches CNN, they're certainly going to tell you, oh, I'm getting both sides. Look at them having this. No, they're just, this is all theater to protect they're both protecting the same mechanism, right?
Yes. And the thing is, it's two major points. Number one, it's Big Pharma that got our citizens addicted to these type of drugs anyways to begin with, right? And number two, the biggest purveyor of illegal drugs that kills so many people in the world is the CIA. And we know this. It hasn't changed. It's still going on. The cartels can't operate inside the United States without the help of the CIA. They did it in Iran-Contra. They did it in Syria. They've been doing it for God knows how long. There was a black market over there. I mean, it's just, that's who's doing it. And if we really want to solve this problem, we'd say, number one, let's look at Big Pharma and let's look at these SSRIs. Like I said, the Kennedy people out there, where's your boy on this? Where's your boy on this going? This is a red herring. Donald Trump is wrong. If we want to fix the problem, let's fix it at its source. Let's stop prescribing these stimulants and opioids to our citizens. Let's find a way to get them healthier without these harmful drugs, because once they're addicted, they're in it for good. And it doesn't make a difference where the fentanyl is coming from. They'll start making it in their own fucking basement for that matter, because they need it, you know? And if we want to straighten this out, let's just, once again, let's look at the CIA. Donald Trump, I heard one of the press secretaries or one of his spokespersons says that Donald Trump has given permission for the CIA to conduct more covert actions in Venezuela. Big news. We've been doing it all along.
Yeah, it's been the whole time. It's just,
it's funny now at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So Adam chimes in here. Don't fall for the Venezuela psyop. The U.S. government doesn't care about drugs. They sell drugs. In 2001, the Taliban eradicated opium production. NATO invaded and restored it. Really? In 2023, the Taliban eradicated production again, but fentanyl is cheaper than another invasion. And then if you go down to this Troy guy, this is the capture, right? Because fentanyl is killing tens of thousands of Americans a year. Okay, that part is true. And a lot of the terrorists pumping that crap into our country either reside or do business there. And that is in reference to Venezuela. Glenn Greenwald chimes in, genuinely scary how many people have become convinced overnight to claim fentanyl comes into the U.S. due to Venezuela, even though Venezuela has basically nothing to do with the entrance of fentanyl into the U.S., as U.S. government reports make clear. Frighteningly easy to sell new wars. 100% right there, Glenn. And if you guys really want to look at the problem, it is here. We're not saying, obviously we do have a fentanyl problem, and it's a matter of, did we do this to ourselves? And unfortunately the answer is yes. This is what LA looks like. So you guys, and Craig, I don't know if you've seen this. This is what LA looks like right now under Newsom's watch. So this is the actual results of fentanyl use. It looks like we're on set of a zombie movie, and these are extras rehearsing the scene before they get into costume and makeup. And that's not what this is. This is not a film set. This is real. And you might ask yourself, well, what is going on? Why are they all looking like a bunch of contortionists that are frozen? This is the result of the drug fentanyl. So we're not saying in any means that this is not a problem. We're telling you guys to put the red flag up and understand that we create the problem ourselves to justify our imperialism outside of this country. So we're doing this to ourselves. We have to fight back against us, not another country. That's what I'm saying. So this is real. It's pretty sick, and pretty sad, I'd say. And this is not just an isolated part of LA. This is all over. And if you go downtown, you'll see just block after block of this. There's particular intersections where there's more condensedness of this, and then the other parts where it's just spread out. But this is a massive, massive problem right now.
And a lot of people on the right will say, this is what's happening in our blue cities. They're just doing this is crazy crime. We got to crack down. We got to send in the National Guard. All their methods for fixing the problems that we really have are just money grabbing, bullshit, authoritarian, ways of empowering themselves and not really helping our citizens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just disgusting,
Yeah. Meanwhile, we know that, Donald Trump wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. He didn't get it. But you know who did? This person did.
It's Maria Corina Machado. This is ridiculous too, as well. I don't know if you have the famous video I can grab it of her and Chavez going back and forth. It's quite it's a really good piece. You know what I'm saying? It's small, but I can grab it real quick while you.
Yeah, why don't you grab it? And in the meantime,
I want people to understand who this woman is, where she came from, whatnot. She wasn't able to run in the last election because she was receiving backdoor financing from the West. You know, and you can't do that. Just like we have our FARA Act, you know, they have other rules that say, and this is what's going on. This is the way the CIA uses the media to say, well, this is a form of election rigging. They didn't let her run. Well, if you're getting a check from the United States, it's just like if you were getting a check from the Chinese, you wouldn't be able to run here. You can get a check from Israel. Can't get a check from the Chinese. But I'll go grab that video, by the way.
Okay. While you're grabbing it, I'm going to play the reaction from Colombia's president, Gustavo Petro. And he's going to tell you about why this fentanyl situation, it's a scam. It's a complete scam, and the American people need to realize that because everybody else in the world does.
Puede usarse las armas de ningún ejército del mundo.
I got to read this one. Okay. Here we go.
No puede usarse.
Oh, wait, I got to do the volume. My bad. Okay, here we go. The weapons of any army in the world cannot be used against humanity. I said so on the streets of New York. I repeated on this program, and even less so in the Caribbean Sea, and even less so against innocent Colombians and fishermen. What's happening in the U.S. is that fentanyl consumption is growing. It's a domestic policy in the U.S., and it must adopt to save its society. But by addressing the issue in the Caribbean Sea, which has nothing to do with fentanyl, what the U.S. is demonstrating is that what it wants is the oil of Venezuela. Oil greed is behind the strategy. And dropping missiles on fishermen. Fishermen on the island of Trinidad and Tobago have already died under a missile. There's a video of the boat that wasn't sailing at sea, but had its engines up and was therefore stationary and was hit by a missile. There are young fishermen who left their homes in Santa Marta and haven't returned. So this is the accountability we're going to have to get from another president of another country that can go on camera and tell us what's going on. Isn't it funny? And you mentioned RFK Jr. We don't have anybody here going on a national broadcast and telling the country what's going on. We have to go get it from another president, another official in another country going on their national airways and telling their people what's going on. It's too bad we have such a captured media that we can't see that. We can't turn on these mainstream channels and see any of this being discussed. So
it'd be interesting to see what happens with Colombia, because behind the scenes, even though Gustavo Petro is more of a reformist, leftist kind of candidate, he still won within their own country, and I was there for their elections. For instance, the Communist Party of Colombia came in to speak to us. Fiorella actually translated for the gentleman, and we talked. They weren't even crazy about Gustavo Petro. He was the compromise candidate. He's been known to do stuff with the Clinton Foundation before. He was, I think, the mayor of Bogota. So he does have connections within the establishment, but he does have an arm out for the people. And his vice president is definitely more of a socialist, leftist, grassroots. And her name is, I forgot, oh my God, I forgot what her name is, Marquez, I think I believe it is. She's more of an environmental activist and whatnot. So it's always interesting because behind the scenes, the weapon sales to Colombia still have been going on. They weren't pulled. And Colombia still is the only Latin American country that has special NATO status. So it's very interesting to see Gustavo Petro at times like this come out. Is it virtue signaling or is it for real? You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's going to cut ties completely, even though Donald Trump says he's going to cut ties. Behind the scenes, Donald Trump won't do that because Colombia buys more weapons from the United States than any Latin American country by far, Matt. By far. So it's a very interesting situation where you have to look behind the scenes.
You do. What I'm saying is it's nice to hear those two very clear sentiments. Two very clear, distinct points that you're not hearing on nobody that hates Trump. See, this is the reveal, guys. If you haven't understood by now, if you really think that it's about stopping Trump, the NoKings, then you would get these 2 points being said right now on MSNBC and CNN. They're not. They're not telling you that we're in Venezuela for the oil, and they're not telling us that fentanyl does not hang out in the Caribbean Sea. They would be telling us that if it really was about stopping the lone, uniquely evil King Trump, because he's the problem, not our entire U.S. imperialist system, which the mainstream supports and defends. That's the thing. That's the reveal right there. So let's look
those Karens go up to people with Palestinian flags. Sorry for cutting you off, buddy.
No.
Seeing these Karens go up to these people with Palestinian flags and tell them to get rid of it was kind of fucking telling to this whole situation. You know, it is it's crazy. I think that, you know, look, we have a responsibility as the media to hold power accountable. Donald Trump's in office right now. The Republicans own everything. They're making the policies that will go. They're the ones handing over the security, our data over to the security state and giving them more powers. That is true. But we have to be ready for the rebound when Gavin Hansen comes around, right? And all these Democrats, these No Kings, that's what they're planning on doing. What they're looking at with these No Kings protests is they want to identify the sheep. Both the right and the left convince the stupid, the dumb, the low-informed voter out there about their politics from their ideology for their side, and they get their consent, and that's how they rule. The people who have half a brain, who understand what's going on, who really do want peace and prosperity, they're the ones who are shut out, and it doesn't make a difference what they say. So that means that our voices have to be louder. I have this video of Maria Corina Machado, and this is in the congressional body of Venezuela when she addressed Chavez. I think this is like 10 years ago, and I count it low, and I will read too as well.
Okay.
How can I talk to you about respecting the private sector in Venezuela when you've been accused of stealing? And Chavez is stealing? Yes, stealing the properties of business people, of merchants, even small guest houses whose owners haven't even been compensated. Tell Venezuela the truth. There is a decent Venezuela here that wants a profound transformation, and this is the time to face the seriousness and the responsibility of the historic challenge ahead of us. Your time is up. This is time for the new Venezuela. Yes, accept the debate, President. So Chavez, he says, fine. First, I suggest you win the primaries, right? Win the primary. That's the first thing you have to do. Because you're not on the level to debate with me. And they're going crazy. You're not on that level. I'm very sorry about that. I'm very sorry about that. Win your primaries. Since you went so far as to call me a thief, you called me a thief in front of the country. I won't cause you offense. An eagle doesn't hunt flies, Congresswoman. Very well. An eagle doesn't hunt flies. And of course, they sold it as this is Maria Corina Machado confronting Hugo Chavez for his sins and whatnot. And, you know, in the election integrity world, this is one of the big things that, you know, what's his name? Rudy Giuliani. And I forgot her name, the tall Texas woman who had the Epstein files. This is the lie they pushed, that Venezuela was the boogeyman out there, fixing our elections, stealing our elections. People like Owen Schroyer, people like Alex Jones, people like Nick Fuentes, they've repeated these lies, right? You know what I'm saying? They are not the boogeyman. They are just another, once again, presented boogeyman by the security state and the military-industrial complex so they can flourish in their business. And like Gustavo Petro said, whether you agree with it or not, this isn't about narco-terrorism. This is about Earl, Matt. It's Earl.
No,
which is
look,
American for oil.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So look, Pasta, we talk about how Trump is Obama 2.0. It's just for the right, this hero worship. We've been talking hero worship. Let's I'm going to try and finish this segment on a positive, maybe you can say over optimistic, but I have to say that even with these people in place, even with these, like you mentioned, the Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes, they're going to be pushing Venezuela no matter what. No matter what, that's the job, is stop communism, right? That's they're never going to let up on that. The war machine can be challenged, but only in certain ways, not in that way. Listen, there are people in the Trump camp, the people that voted for Trump, that have had, frankly, enough of this, and they're being vocal about it. And I actually don't remember people being this vocal when Obama was taking us into all of these wars. He upped the war count by 5. After we elected him to stop 2 wars. But what happened was most of us went to sleep. And I'm not saying that of course there's Trumpers that went to sleep. There's a lot of Trumpers that went to sleep. They're just happy that Trump got elected, and he's doing his second term. They're not actually paying attention. They're not looking at what's happening in Venezuela right now. They don't have the capacity, and I'm not giving them a free pass. I'm saying we used to be them. There were people in 2012, 2013 in that second term of Obama. Once he got through that second election, they were, the Mitt Romney. No one even remembers the Mitt Romney election because it was he coasted through it. And then people, if they weren't asleep already, they went right back to sleep and they hibernated for the next several years. And so we didn't see what was going on. So what I'm saying is I want to give at least a little credit to those, that other group. There's a third group in the Trump side that are paying attention. Yeah. And they're seeing this and they're going, what the F is this? You said deep state. Don't you effing tell me that Venezuela doesn't count as the CIA and the drug planting and the creating these wars. Don't you tell me that that's something that you didn't tell us you were going to be challenging. So they're not buying it. And every once in a while we see big Trump voices shout about this. And again, we're only into the first year of the second term. So I like seeing when people do this. Here's one of them, the patriotic blonde, just today. Patriots. And she's talking to the Trump base. Patriots, I have come to a conclusion. Trump is not suddenly incompetent. Trump is not simply misguided. Trump is not just being too trusting of the wrong people. Trump is not being poorly advised. Trump was a psyop. We fell for it. One world government incoming. And I pass it to you, Craig, but I want to tell you my optimism here, seeing this being said out loud, she deserves a little applause because this is going out to other people that are going to read this, and they're going to maybe stop and think, and hopefully more people do that than we did not do during the Obama terms. And I wish we had. I wish I was paying more attention at the time. But yeah, go ahead.
The Patriot Blonde looks pretty over there. She's looking for reform, right? I can help reform you, Patriot Blonde. Look me up. Look me up. And you said people were out to where? You were saying people were out off the map or in the beginning of your...
People are asleep. They're hibernating because the hero, we talk about hero worshiping, the hero that they blood, sweat, and tears on the ground, boots on the ground. Remember Obama? We were like, the people's movement, hope and change, that whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
most people went to sleep when their hero got in. Yeah. And I'm saying, I know that there's Trumpers that went to sleep. I get that. And they're not being diabolical. They're not being racist. They're not being these things. They just went to sleep. But there's a third group that this Patriot Blonde is representing, a third group I don't think we really had in our Obama days. It's a third group saying, wait the hell minute. Whoa. What the F are you doing? Well, the only explanation, what she's saying is the only explanation is that you were a psyop the whole time. I applaud her being able to say that just into the first year, not even at the first year of the second term.
Well, I learned a lesson to write down everything so I can tell my joke properly. Because when you were saying they went to sleep, I was trying to say I went to brunch. And I got but I mean, listen, I would argue with you and say that, when Obama was president, we didn't have the internet presence we have today, right? Everything's on the internet now. Twitter wasn't a thing. Facebook was barely even invented. People were on MySpace when Obama was the president. So I think it's a different time. I still feel that, there wasn't as many people in the Obama side that were as loud as some of these people right now. And me and you have even agreed that these people just are a lot louder than some of the people on the left. But they haven't had any serious heads. Even when we talk about Charlie Kirk, God rest his soul, because I don't want to piss on his grave at all. But even when we talk about Charlie Kirk, the argument we had was that he's moderately stepping out. He's still coming out there. The majority of the people out there, you talk to people other than like a Dave Smith or the Patriot Blonde, that if you ask them if you will vote for Donald Trump today, would you still do it? The majority of the people, the Alex Jones, the Owen Schroyers, all those people will tell you that, they would still vote for him as the lesser of two evils. I don't think that stands true for people like me and yourself when it came to Obama. We'd say, hey, no, absolutely not. We did fall for it twice. You fell for it twice. But I think we had more of a coming to Jesus moment. We had more people like a Cornel West standing out there, people like Harry Belafonte expressing what Obama was. More independent journalists, I think, were writing out, pushing back against Obama than we have with Donald Trump. Now, we don't know for sure. We have no metrics of weighing this, but I'm still nervous out there. I was just in Texas, and it's the same old with the conservatives and the populist right. They're the same thing. They're just regenerated to be something different. They act like they're anti-war. It's just they want their specific wars. And this whole genocide in Israel, it did start under Joe Biden. That is true, but he was quickly ushered out, and it was handed off to Donald Trump because he would see it across the finish line. And there is so much blood on our hands. And not only that, even if you were to remove that issue, every single other issue, there's so many more of them where he checks the list as far as betrayal. Oh, the security state, censorship, our data, our information, the technocrats, check. I mean, he's just handed it over to these people. Just a couple weeks ago, he's talking about a biometric system for people coming in and out, using the fear of immigrants to manufacture consent. And guess what? The conservatives are buying it. So even though there are small voices out there, I think it's going to be left up to a lot of us who can reach across that aisle, who still have relationships with people on the right, because that's the beautiful thing about Pastor Jardula and Matt Weinglass, is that we'll talk to anybody. We're not going to demonize anybody. And by using this tactic of not demonizing people, we can hopefully get them to open up and see what's really going on. There's no such thing as two parties. It's one party serving the same masters. And at the end of the day, both sides hate us. They don't care about us. They don't care if we live or die, and they want complete ownership and destruction of this world.
Well said, my friend. Well said. And we're going to keep doing what we're doing here. Hey, before we get going here, did you see the RT 20-year celebration post they did in AI? I played it in the opening, but I didn't know if you saw it. Do you want to see it?
I would love to see it.
It's really good. This is RT utilizing AI to make kind of a statement against Western media. Let's see it. Go ahead. Here we go.
You ever catch yourself questioning more?
Like, why do I always parrot everything the U.S. State Department says?
Or why I always ask, do you condemn Hamas, but never Israel?
Why I never said sorry for spreading the debunked Trump Russiagate hoax?
Why I support every illegal war the U.S. has launched this century?
Why I can't stop lying that Joe Biden was young and healthy enough for the presidency?
Why we ignore our rock-bottom ratings and pretend people still want to watch the same old bullshit?
The only reason we're asking
is because RT generated this video
and made us do it.
So you'll never get answers, at least not from us.
Happy anniversary to RT.
I may be an AI, but there's no way I'm saying that.
That's great. You know, RT is very interesting because it is, and lately their work has been a little bit fugazi-ish sometimes, pushing some of the bullshit memes and the right-wing crap sometimes, but they're like anti-imperialist conservatives, right? so it's kind of like, it's very interesting what they come up with. Is it better than what we got? Absolutely, too, as well. But sometimes some of their mindset gets in the way, too, as well, and a lot of the crap they're pushing is bullshit, you know? But, you know, hey, that was genius right there, and hats off to RT for pulling that off. They got to get these sanctions lifted and get back over here, start signing some contracts from people who could do some real work for them. And there's a lot of them out there. I mean, I'd love to see Garland to get his voice back in bigger areas and bigger spaces with Dr. Wilmer and, you know, Rachel Blevins and, you know, John Kiriakou and even Jamal, who's been doing a great job with Sputnik. And Rick Sanchez needs to get back to Miami and do his work. He's been doing such great work for so long. So I really hope something moves with that, but I don't think it does. I don't think it ever intended to. I think they wanted to sanction it, silence it. You know, if Donald Trump was really about fighting back against censorship and having transparency, he would have corrected that right off the bat. But, you know, once again, his voters will say, well, what do you want to do? If he lifts the sanctions against Russia, they'll kill him for it.
Yeah.
Well, sending ICE to cities, no due process, that stuff's okay. But this over here, the Democrats are too powerful.
Yeah.
Stop. Alto, get a fucking grip.
Yeah. We need RT back in full swing. I have to say, my experience is I got nothing but love for them and the opportunity to go on and give my take on things. I'm going to tell you this real quick, because I saw on Facebook, I had a memory come up. You know, the memory things come up, and apparently 5 years ago, yesterday, I was hired to do camera work for BBC for the 2020 election, and I posted on Facebook about it, and probably got the most engagement I've had since. Now I'm being shadow banned on Facebook, but back then I did a post about how I'm excited to do this job, but I want people to know that I'm going to do my best to not be fired, but BBC's part of the problem. And I want people to know that the Western media machine needs to be shaken up. And I'm going to work my way up. I'm going to do the job I need to do. But I want you guys to know it's going to be hard for me because they're part of the problem. So we'll see. At least they're an outside looking in, but we'll see how it goes. And I had all these people. I mean, everybody loved. They go, Matt, great opportunity. Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. But they're like, just be careful, just be quiet, work your way up, be a good soldier, So I was reading those comments. Be a good soldier, keep your mouth shut. So fast forward 5 years, I'm in front of the camera on RT, and I post. Here's me doing a report on the ground for the LA riots or for the LA fires or whatever, and I'm giving my take. And the same people in my timeline, they're just bashing. Wow, that's a propaganda network. How dare you? What are you doing? And I'm like, that's so interesting how we've taken such a step back where people 5 years ago were rooting me on to be a keep your mouth shut camera guy at BBC. But how dare you get in front of the camera of RT and open your mouth and say anything, because that's propaganda. And I'm just appalled by the difference of those two posts 5 years in between. And I'm end with this. Going on RT, my experience is this. They tell me the topic. I get to go live and tell my opinion. Nobody tells me you can't say this, you can't say that. Watch your mouth here. And that's what I believe journalism should be. And I appreciate that opportunity. I'm going to keep doing it.
You know, it reminds me of Kim Iverson and the stuff she went through and some of the people that pushed back against her with her contract for Rumble. They never told her what to say. And then when things got hairy on the Hill and they took an interview away from her from Fauci, she quit because of her principles, because she's not going to be told what to say. She's going to do real journalism, and she'll do it for you if she works for you and you'll pay her. And I would do the same too as well. But as long as you let me do real journalism and you don't try to tell me what I can and cannot say, you can tell me, hey, man, Pasta, can you not talk about something other than Israel maybe and include other stuff? And I'll say, yeah, that makes sense. I'll make sure I cover the news broadly across the way. But if you start censoring me and telling me I have to talk about one thing and not another, that's when we have issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Craig Pasta, Jardula, tell people what's going on with you, where they can find you right now. And,
well, I just got back from Texas, El Paso. I did the Third Eye Carnival event with Steve Poikinen. It was a lot of fun. It's always cool. You can check me out. I jump on AM Wake Up every once in a while. It's on Rumble. And I don't even do Rockfin anymore, just Rumble and Twitter. AM Wake Up. That's with Steve Poikinen. He has great guests like the Last American Vagabond, Teese Schneider, and a few other people out there. Michael Graves, who's a controversial guy, used to sing for the Misfits. He was the headliner over there in Texas, El Paso. He's known to be a Proud Boys supporter or friend, whatnot. And he's been smeared, but I got to spend some time and talk with him. And even though we had differences of opinions on certain things, he's a great guy. So please go over to AM Wake Up, check that stuff out. Fiorella and I will be doing the Truth Wire, kicking it back up. I don't know if you notice how I'm looking, ladies and gentlemen, but it looks like I'm turning the corner. It's been a crazy year of being ill. You know, Matt, thank you so much for being there with me along the way as a friend, not just as a coworker and somebody to collaborate with, but going through this whole experience and finally turning the corner. I went to get acupuncture today. So I got a lot to say when it comes to healthcare. Please look out for my friend Shanda Masta over there on Roar Media. Yep. If you want to go help her out, please go to Roar Media or websites, Oz and Shanda. And, of course, Amber King, they rock over there. But Shanda is in a battle with cancer for her life, and she needs your help right now. So if you can go over there and help her out. And, of course, on Wednesdays on WBAI New York, I do the call-in show. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's called Drive Time. It's from 4 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday with my co-host, Reggie Johnson. And you can call on in and throw your opinions around, because I believe that's what it's all about, talking to each other, talking across party lines, talking across different ideologies and differences. And that's a platform in an area and an arena where we get to do it. So go ahead and take a look. And also my episode of Surrounded. It's so crazy, Matt, because when I'm on that episode of Surrounded, I had to take so much prednisone just to get over there, which is a steroid, because I was so sick and my hair was coming out and I looked different, but I went and I did it. And I think I did a great job. It's got like 3.5 million views. Go check it out. Surrounded from Jubilee. I'm on that. And Matt, as always, thank you so much. Send my love to Talking Back with Les. And we'll see you soon. Thanks again for providing this opportunity and this platform to share with you, talk about these great stories. And I look forward to more collaboration in the future with you, brother.
Yes. Awesome, Craig. Thank you so much. Craig Pasta Jardula. Thanks again being on Homeless Left, and we will see you next time. All right. All right. We are moving on, guys. Welcome to the show. If you guys are late, welcome. Oh, look at this. Look what we got. We got, I believe, yes, we do have some good news coming from Rumble. Do Dissidents has rated the stream. Hello, welcome, Do Dissidents. Thanks for being here with us on The Homeless Left, the non-tribal approach to news. We love DD. We love these guys, and that means friend of DD's, friend of Homeless Left. We go by THL, non-tribal approach to news. We cover all the stuff that's going on in the local news, the political realm. We take on the propaganda machine. We do a lot of geopolitics, and we just try to keep everybody with a non-tribal approach to everything, not just news, but to our day-to-day lives and how we look at the world. And that's what we're about. So welcome. Don't forget to hit the like on this, but subscribe to the channel. You guys can see we're here every Tuesday, Thursday. We're live every afternoon, twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, all through the afternoon. And we're based here in Los Angeles. So welcome. Okay, let's move on with some more show. It's time to do a Charlie Kirk update. We're going to start with Kash Patel, who is going to tell us how his FBIing is going. It's basically the opposite of everything that he told us he was going to do when he got in as FBI director. He's doing the opposite. So this should be no surprise, but this is Kash Patel doing damage control on Charlie Kirk. Listen to the verbiage he's using as he tries to silence people who's asking questions. Take it away, Kash Patel.
I think that the militant trans issue really became familiar to the American people last month when Charlie Kirk was killed. I mean, you guys at breakneck speed found this guy, you identified him, you profiled the type of person that he would be, and that's incredible. Is there more?
So these people interviewing him are not honest journalists, because that's not, no one cares. Nobody cares about breakneck speed. We don't care about that. We care about accuracy. But yeah, that's the language, the setup question for him to hit the home run right back. So this is all propaganda. This isn't real, because we don't care. Nobody cares about breakneck speed. They care about accuracy and truth and justice. But yeah, go ahead, Kash.
Evidence that you guys can offer to people, maybe video from that roof. Do you expect that there will be more to be released?
I think the best thing we can do for Charlie, especially me as FBI director and our team, is to prosecute this case in the courts of law, where it is, in Utah, in the state of court of law. And what we're going to do is what we've done. Give them every piece of evidence we collect. Our cellular analysis systems are the best in the world, and that's what the FBI does, and that's what we flew in and did. That's how we...
Are we supposed to take your word for it? You're just going to give them all the evidence. That's everything, right? Everything. How are we going to know? Where is the transparency? What transparency device do you have in place, Kash? I'm sure you're going to explain it to the viewers.
We led the manhunt and got him in 33 short hours. And every single piece of video or forensic evidence or witness interview, we've done dozens and dozens, gone on these platforms, found every single person. All of that material, and I know this is frustrating to the public, and I understand it, but I'm not going to allow the Charlie Kirk prosecution to be dismantled because we want to get over our skis and publicize information. That is the one thing you cannot do. We will make everything public in court. It just takes time.
It does. Yeah, it always does in these cases.
Wait. You're going to make everything public in court. So that's not actually public. That's not public. So the answer is no, you will not be making everything public. So we're not going to know what's being considered and what's not being considered. That's basically what he's saying here. Anything more you have to add here?
Is there any possibility that other people were involved? When you talked at the White House, I sort of got a little inkling that maybe you're looking at other people.
We're looking at everyone that was there, that was online, and we're looking to refer these matters to the state prosecution authorities when there's enough evidence. But the reality is, again, with social media, when you have hysterical conspiracy theories filling the void, you're harming Charlie and his family and a rightful prosecution of his alleged assassin, who we have in custody.
Yeah, we're harming the family. That's a good one. Where have I heard that before? Let me think. I can go back to, man, there's so many examples. How about Seth Rich? Getting the information will hurt his family. Remember that one? We can't know what's in the laptop. We got to be careful. We can't report on it. go after anybody who's asking questions because you're hurting the family. Want another example? How about 9/11? Can't ask questions about what happened because there are people in mourning. Let them grieve. How dare you ask questions about their dead family members? That's hurting the family. Hurting the family. Got it. Okay. So this is something that that you guys are good at. And I say you guys, and Cash, you're part of the thing. You didn't go in there to shake things up. You went in there to become part of the problem. I've heard enough of him. Let's get on to the gag order part, because this thing is a little weird. Let's try and break this down. Okay. The gag order that the Utah court announced. Let's look at some of the work here that real journalists are doing. So this is the story. The scope of the Tyler Robinson case gag order is unprecedented in Utah. Over 3,000 witnesses, that would be people that were there to witness the assassination, associates, in quotations, of the case, attorneys, family members, and even press. Interesting. So that means anybody doing commentary about the incident is also included in this gag order. Interesting. Even press are subject to the order, threatened with potential contempt of court charges and jail time for speaking. Now, there are those that would argue, no, they're only going to enforce it with the attorneys and the immediate family members and the key witnesses, because that's common. Yes, that's common to do that. So gag orders are not uncommon. They're common when it comes to the legal teams and the close family members and the key witnesses. But in this case, they're going further than we've ever seen, specifically in Utah. Well, let's see some of the work that Sam Parker has done, because I appreciate Sam Parker as one of the actual investigative journalists who have been working on this case the whole time, because we don't have too many doing it. So Sam Parker reports the breaking news Tyler Robinson trial. The judge, Tony Graff, was selected to preside over the Kirk assassination trial, and the judge he replaced, Robert Lunnan. So again, this is the judge that just made this gag order. Tony Graff replaced Lunnan. They were both the subject of a unique Google search from Israeli IP addresses. When was this? Before the assassination. This was on July 26th and on May 15th. And we know that Charlie Kirk was murdered on September the 10th. So that's weird. And you know what's even weirder is that neither of them were the subject of any searches in Utah until after September 10th assassination date. So Lunnan retires on the 1st of August. Judge Graff assumed his duties on August 4th, on about the same day that Mehtab Seed, now that's the special agent that was in charge of the Salt Lake City FBI field office, she was removed for no reason. Nobody gave a good reason for her removal. That's bizarre, right? That's kind of bizarre. Well, let's look a little closer. So this is Sam Parker's work saying, look, this is the announcement that the Graff took over. There is the article. There's the date. So this is official. He's the new judge taking on the accused killer's death penalty case in Charlie Kirk. So understand this. The judge had already replaced the other judge. The Israel IPs that were Googling these two happened before the murder, and then the judge doesn't automatically get assigned the murder until after the murder. Now the judge gets assigned. Very interesting. Who decided that this judge Graff gets assigned? Who makes that decision? I wonder if it's anybody that's looking it up beforehand would have any say in it. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. Okay. So on May 2nd, Governor Spencer Cox appoints Graff to the district court. So that's when he got appointed, was on May 2nd. And then he got assigned and taking the place of Lunnan. So that was the timeline. It was May 1st, May 2nd, And then this happened after that. This was the assignment to the Chyler Robinson trial. Okay. Well, let's look at the actual Google searches. So these are the dates that both, and this is in Israel. You guys can see in the red, that's Israel IP coming directly from Israel, May 15th and July 26th. Searching for Robert Lunnan, who's in the red dot, and above, and then Tony Graff is the July 26th. Okay, all from Israel. That's weird. And here is Utah in the same time frame. Notice how there's 0 searches the entire way for either of them until we get to September 21st, 27th, and October 5th through 18th. And there you have Tony Graff being searched. So there you go. That's the only time in that same timeline that they were searched on Google in Utah. Israel, Utah. Israel, Utah. Okay. Candace Owen chimes in, and this is in reference to that it might include press. And if you're reporting on this, that includes us too, by the way. That includes anybody reporting on this. She says, don't worry about the gag order in the Charlie Kirk case. I plan to violate it on the world's behalf. The things I've discovered this past week are enough to burn the house down. Yes, Charlie was betrayed by everyone. And we're going to do a follow-up on some of the new stuff we found. I don't have it ready today, but on Thursday, we're going to look at some new stuff we discovered about his wife, about Erica. Some new stuff. We already knew about the Israeli ties. We already knew about all the backstory of the Mossad connection with her. But there's more coming out about that, more specific conversations that have occurred before Charlie was murdered. So we want to look at some of that. But I wonder what else Candace has. We're going to find out soon. And anybody insulting her right now and saying, how dare she do this? Just stop. If you want to challenge any of her actual reporting or investigation, do that. Challenge the validity of her report. You know, I don't see anybody doing that. It's really interesting. I'll just do an example here. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but tell me if anybody looked this picture up and said, Candace, you got that wrong. That's not actually a 17-minute drive away at a Dairy Queen. 17-minute drive away where he should have been doing his little text to his furry boyfriend, tranny person, roommate. He was getting ice cream dessert at a Dairy Queen. Candace was the one that broke this story. I see people attacking Candace, but not the actual reporting. Was she wrong? Does this not have a timestamp and a location? Is she wrong? I don't think so. So notice who is criticizing the person, the messenger, and who's criticizing the message. That's important. That's important. Okay, so Utah doubles down on even more censorship. Watch out for this. So listen to this speech, and then we're going to look at another. There's a censorship law on top of this gag order that's being pushed right now in Utah. It's pretty weird and disturbing.
Not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community.
Just to be clear, he's talking about social media, people on social media, not companies owning social media, not, being paid influencers by Israel, being paid for propaganda for Israel on social media, not Larry Ellison owning social media. He's talking about dangerous people, keyboard warriors in their grandma's basement. That's what he's talking about. And there's a lot of the country that believes that garbage, that we have to be careful of each other. You have to be careful of yourself. You can cause yourself harm. You can be responsible for killing grandma. That kind of baseless psychology of that we are a danger to ourselves. That's what he's talking about. Just to be clear, when he says we have to do something about social media. Okay, what did you have in mind out there in Utah? What is the plan?
We have seen an escalation in violence that has been happening across the country. We've had periods like this in our past history. I've mentioned before in the late 60s and early 70s, certainly we saw these types of high-profile political assassinations, another dark time in our history. And I can't emphasize enough the damage that social media and the internet is doing to all of us. The conflict entrepreneurs are taking advantage of us, and we are losing our agency. And we have to take that back. We have to turn it off. We have to get back to community, caring about our neighbors, the things that make American great, serving each other, bettering ourselves, exercising, sleeping, all of those things that this takes away from us.
Well, Governor, you referred to social media as a cancer on Friday. That's an incredibly strong word. Do you believe that social media played a direct role in this assassination?
Again, she's doing the same thing, parroting the concern of people without power, people with cell phones in their hands and keyboards in their grandma's basements. That's what she's talking about here. There's no indication or any insinuation that we're talking about a larger problem on social media that has to do with who's buying these platforms and who's pushing laws in our Congress, like the Stop Hate Act being pushed by the ADL. I don't know if that one's still moving forward, but we saw the Stop Hate Act. It's just one example of social media companies being fined if they don't remove people who are challenging Israel and calling it anti-Semitism. She's not talking about that. She's talking about when you say cancer, Governor, Utah Governor, when you say cancer, you mean the people themselves are cancer. That's what she's saying. Just to be clear, it's a punch down mechanism. If you're watching NBC and you want the update on Charlie Kirk and you think NBC is going to give it to you, they are certainly giving it to you. Bend over and take it by NBC, because that's what's happening right here. You're being told that you are the problem, not the corporations that are controlling these agencies, not the three-letter government agencies, not the FBI who's lying to us every day, not Kash Patel putting out fake text messages. That's not the problem. The problem is hate and division. That's the people's fault. Even though the people are being conned into hate and confusion and fear by the power over them. But no, this is the game plan. So this will lead to this bill. We'll get to the bill. We'll get to the bill, but this is the justification for it. This is how you manufacture consent. We need to police ourselves.
I believe that social media has played a direct role in every single assassination and assassination attempt that we have seen over the last 5-6 years.
Can I correct that? I'm sorry, Governor Spencer Cox, can I correct that for you? I believe that the CIA or Mossad or government agencies of some sort or corporatist entity has played a role in every single assassination that I can think of. There might be a couple exceptions of lone crazy people, bad apples. That was my one correction. But yeah, go on, Governor, go on.
There is no question in my mind that cancer probably isn't a strong enough word. And we're doing everything in Utah, first state in the nation a couple years ago to pass comprehensive reform. Sadly, these most powerful companies on earth are suing us to prevent us from implementing these things.
He's not just talking the crap. He's taking action. If only there was a word stronger than cancer, he would use it right now. But this is what's really happening. Project Constitution. Whistleblower alert. Utah's secret social media censorship plot to bury Charlie Kirk's assassination. Utah power players are slipping through a sneaky social media bill. It's called SB 194 HB 464 revisions. Fast-tracked in 2025 session. Under the radar, framed as kids' safety. Of course, it's for the kids. It's for the kids, guys. We got to protect the kids. But designed to let officials and suspects wipe out any online talk of murder investigations. We can't talk about the investigations because we're putting our kids' lives in jeopardy to have conversations. We're talking total control, censor posts, delete threads, shadow ban truth seekers, exposing the web of corruption tied to Charlie Kirk's brutal hit in September. That's what's really going on. And they ain't nobody on Meet the Press, NBC, cable news BS that's going to ask the right questions, because their job is to usher this in and pretend it's for our own good, and it's for the kids. Kids' safety. Can you believe it? Kids' safety. So that's it. That's it. The gag order is coming. Anybody who tells you not to worry, this is standard, they're not paying attention. It's more than standard. And regardless of if they're able to legally go after Candace Owen or not, I'll tell you this, her just posting that's good enough for me. So show us what you got. Not just her, other great journalists out there doing the work. Max Blumenthal, James Lee, Sam Parker. There's a bunch. I can't name them all, but there's a bunch doing the good work. Honest journalism, the best you can. That's what we got to do. So we're all in this together. Black or white, red, blue, blah, 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 up, down. Doesn't matter. Let's all do this together, guys. That's your Charlie Kirk update. We'll keep an eye on the story. Okay. Moving on. If you're still with us with Due Dissidents, thank you so much. If you guys are first time, if you guys saw us on Moats the other day, this weekend, that was awesome. Little fun convo with Garland Nixon over the weekend. If you saw us on Moats, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Not just like the videos, but subscribe to the channel. And guess what? We keep our episodes up, all of them. I think this is our 141st. Wow, 141. Homeless Left on Rumble. All of our lives are up. You can go back. Our paper trail's there. We've got nothing to hide. Everything's there. But not just the lives. We also upload segments. So you guys can share out the segments. If there's a particular topic that interests you, you want to start a conversation with a family member or somebody that you've maybe fell off with, a friend, a coworker, and you want to use an opportunity. Maybe there's something that might get their attention, a topic we're covering. You can always grab a segment, share it out. We're not just here to entertain. We're not just here to team huddle with you guys. And it's not a team, it's a community. No team game here. No team game. But it's more than just us in our own, little thing here. It's engaging outside. It's doing our part. We're all active too, not just, having the conversations. We're also engaging with others as well. And then going, boots on the ground when we can too. That's also true. If you're following us on YouTube or you haven't yet, it's THL Presents on YouTube, Homeless Left on Rumble. But the Homeless Left on YouTube doesn't exist anymore because we were told by Google that our conversations were too dangerous for the community. You're starting to see the pattern here, guys. You're starting to see the pattern. That's right. Okay, guys. And you can throw the support up on locals. We appreciate that as well. Okay, we're going to be right back in 2 minutes with our next topic. We actually got, I think, 3 more segments we're covering. We got a De Niro story. Oh, that's funny. We got a Maha update on We Know What It's Not. Yeah, I think we're going to at least do those 2. So let's, and we're going to talk to you guys. We're doing some talking back. So make sure you guys throw up your comments and we will read them live on the show during talking back. So all that's coming up with you guys momentarily. Don't go anywhere, or actually go grab yourself a drink, go to the bathroom. Be right back with you guys in approximately 2 minutes. See you then. This is Homeless Left, non-tribal approach to news. See you guys soon. This week in HOLLYWOKE, unfortunately, Trump derangement syndrome strikes again, and it happens with our good old friend of the show, Robert De Niro. That's right. Robert De Niro is up to his Trump derangement syndrome. We love him in his acting jobs. We love him in Goodfellas and Casino and Raging Bull and all the rest. But unfortunately, he's just not really that great at politics. Okay, so MSNBC had Robert De Niro on to cover the NoKings and why it was such a big deal and such an important part of stopping King Trump, because he's been fighting against King Trump for years. So De Niro seems to know a thing or two about fighting emperors. And so he's going to tell the MSNBC audience, as he's probably taken time to really articulate his point. People seem to think De Niro hasn't articulated it that well. Well, let's give him a chance. I'm sure he's prepared, like he would prepare for a role. He would be memorizing his lines and really looking into the character. So let's see how well he does this time around. TDS, take it away, Robert De Niro. Here we go.
Like what Newsom has done, because he's trolled him and he's fought fire with fire, and that's what you have to do. And he called him an invasive species, which is what he is. So he's not. He's a thing that doesn't understand. Trump does not understand anything about humanity, people. He has no empathy. I don't know what he is, but he's an alien, and he wants to hurt this country. It's something deeply psychological in him. He wants to hurt people. He wants to hurt this country. He doesn't care. And what saddens me the most, upsets me the most, is that people follow him and they think and they kiss his ass and they look up to him. And I don't understand it. I don't understand the people in his cabinet, some of them, Rubio, how they can live with themselves after what they've allowed him to do and not stood up. Even walk out of the room when what they did with Zelensky the first time. Rubio, looking at his face, they got the camera on him. If he had balls, he would have walked out.
I don't understand. That's a tough sell, I gotta say. So you've taken all this time since the election. I know that was very hard for you, De Niro. I hope you didn't have to call one of those suicide hotlines. We saw those suicide hotlines over and over here in LA. We got a lot of that in our feeds, just for people who were really feeling like the end of the world had happened when Trump beat Kamala, because everybody knows Kamala was supposed to be president. She worked really hard. She got a bunch of votes. She won the prime. Oh, wait, no, none of that happened. I'm sorry. I forgot. I thought it was a regular election. No, it was a fake one on the Democrat side for sure. So you don't know what's going on. You don't know how people can, as you say, kiss his ass. You're saying he's an alien. He wants to hurt people. So I don't know if you've made any actual point of substance. Those are just feelings. And Robert De Niro, you've just been really, really consistent with one thing, and that is just telling us how you feel, but not really backing it up with anything. I don't know if MSNBC was prepared to ask you any specific questions. Like if I was on that panel, I'd ask you, first of all, what are the demands of the protest? But I'm sure he wouldn't be able to answer that question because he doesn't know. If you're talking about we're stopping an alien who wants to hurt us, well, then what is the demand? Impeach him? Well, then tell us that's the demand, right? I don't know if he would say that, because then you'd have to then justify, well, then what, right? Is it J.D. Vance, President Vance? Is he any good? Does he want to hurt people? Is he an alien? I don't know why he's getting this type of time. And I'll tell you, I'll add this. He started the clip praising Newsom, because that's what you do. Here in California, you have to praise Newsom as he takes on Trump without any regard for the fact that Newsom is also a cartoon character, also playing a WrestleMania action figure, which he is, and he takes on Trump in a very action figure WrestleMania way. But does Trump have any idea what Newsom's policies are? Does he have any idea the type of thing Newsom has planned for California? Because I'm sure he might have missed this. Governor Gavin Newsom signs bill for California's first anti-Semitism prevention coordinator in schools. That's right. There's going to be an anti-Semitism prevention coordinator here in California. What does that person do? Well, let's see. Here's what happened. This was just 2 weeks ago. Newsom signed AB 715 on October 7th, 2025. How nice. 2 years anniversary. 2 years anniversary since the Hannibal Directive. That's very fitting. Very fitting. Since the day that Israel murdered its own people and called a stand down order. Newsom signs this into effect. It's the first coordinator job. It's to protect Jewish students in K through 12. And they protect them how? By training educators, tracking, ooh, love that word, tracking complaints, and enforcing anti-discrimination measures. Well, how do you enforce? What's the protocol for enforcement? Well, the legislation addresses a surge. Of course, there's a surge. There's always a surge. Just like COVID. Surge in COVID. Got to protect ourselves, right? Sign up for the next booster. That's the language you got to look out for. It's that there's a surge, right? Anti-Semitic incidents in California schools since October 7th. So in the last 2 years. Remind us, it was Hamas that attacked Israel. Israel had nothing to do with funding Hamas or firing on its own people or stand down order or any of the other stuff that they're guilty of and admitted to. By the way, admitted all of these things. So they're saying 10,000 cases. Well, what constitutes a case? And that's not California. That's the U.S. So the entire country, 10,000 cases. What does that even mean? Who defines that? Oh, the ADL. The ADL will define what constitutes one of the 10,000 cases. Got it. So supporters like the Jewish Public Affairs Committee of California hail it as a milestone. This is hailing as a milestone for student safety. While critics, including the ACLU, argue it may suppress free speech on Israel and Palestine. It may. No. It will. And that's what's going on. Does Robert De Niro know any of this? Of course he doesn't. Well, MSNBC Roundtable, they're going to let him go. And I bet you these guys, I swear, I bet these guys are huge fans. They're huge fans. They probably watch Goodfellas 20 times, 30 times like I have. But they can't distinguish the difference between the actor De Niro, the character De Niro, and the Trump derangement syndrome De Niro. So they're not going to ask any pushback questions, and they're going to let him ramble some more. And then the real damage is done. Here we go. De Niro should have quit while he was behind, but he wanted to go just a little further when he brings up Stephen Miller's name. Uh-oh. Watch out. Here we go.
We see it all the time. He will not want to leave. He set it up with his, I guess he's the Goebbels of the cabinet.
Before he mentions Miller, yeah, Trump won't want to leave. That's what De Niro warned us about. The first term, Trump won't want to leave when he beat Hillary Clinton. He won't want to leave when he left. He won't want to leave when he was running again. He won't want to leave when he beat Kamala. And now he still doesn't want to leave. So that's he doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave. Okay. Thank you for being, saying that over and over and never actually being right about it. But okay. Now it's time for the Stephen Miller part. Here we go.
Stephen Miller, he's a Nazi.
Oh. Uh-oh. Robert, Bobby, baby, come on now. You talking to me? Huh? You talking to me? Stephen Miller, the Nazi. Okay. Anyone going to chime in? Anyone around the round table going to chime in?
Yes, he is. And he's Jewish, and he should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You really got him on that one, huh? Yeah. That's interesting there. Okay. Well, why don't we take a look? Because I'm sure De Niro has done his homework. Clearly, you can't just go on cable news and say someone's a Nazi without. I'm sure you got the receipts. Well, let's see if we can come up with something. There's got to be something on the interwebs. There's got to be something on the interwebs that qualifies De Niro's claim about Stephen Miller being a Nazi. Oh, I think I found something. Here we go. I knew De Niro didn't just make it up. There must have been a reference. Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, well, first, okay, he's facing Fury, of course. Robert De Niro, this is Newsweek. They put this out today. Robert De Niro faces MAGA fury over Stephen Miller Nazi comments. He said Stephen Miller is a Nazi during an appearance on MSNBC. Newsweek has reached out to a representative for De Niro via email and filled out a contract request form with America First Legal, co-founded by Miller, for comment outside of regular working hours. So they're trying to get the interview. Newsweek's got to get the story. We're getting the story. Okay, well, while we wait for the story to unfold about any ramifications, does De Niro have to apologize? Does MSNBC have to apologize? Because, yeah, that sounds a little anti-Semitic to call a Jewish person a Nazi. Well, what about the evidence? De Niro, you must have done your research and come up with something. Well, we came up with it for you. Here we go. Stephen Miller is an Israel First Zionist, like the rest of them. Oh, is that what you meant, De Niro, by Nazi? The comparison to Zionist? I can go in that direction if that's what you meant. He's a reality TV show producer, staging business as usual ICE arrests like the show Cops in order to entertain retards who get all their information from Twitter and Fox News. To see his real beliefs, check out the leaked Houthi Yemen signal chat. You guys remember that one? Stephen Miller on the signal chat where they're bragging and fist bumping emojis about bombing the shit out of Houthi and Yemen citizens and bragging about it on publicly. Trump blasting on Truth Social that he bombed the shit out of Yemen and wanted a high five for it. Yeah, he's one of the biggest Zionist warmongers in the administration. What else is Stephen Miller guilty of? We know he's a Zionist. We know he's a warmonger. He also makes a buttload of money having financial stake in Palantir, which is helping ICE deport undocumented migrants. And if Rolling Stone wanted to go deeper, they would add to that. Also, additionally, Palantir is in charge of the technology that helps murder Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank, and blowing up pagers in Lebanon, and indiscriminately bombing in Yemen, and taking over Syria, and all the rest, and killing negotiating team from Hamas in Qatar, and all of the rest. That is Palantir. Okay. So it looks like Mr. De Niro doesn't know what the F is going on, does he? No. And if Mr. De Niro cared about Zionism as a problem, he would know about Newsom doing this. If you guys miss it, just so you know, this is an anti-Semitism prevention bill, exactly like Trump's national federal bill. Same thing, doing it locally. But he's not interested in that. He's only interested in his one-dimensional assessment of Trumpers, and he will go back to the same old, I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Well, let me remind you one more flashback. This is an oldie but a oldie but a goodie. De Niro warning us right before the election. He's standing outside of the Capitol telling us how bad Trump's going to be. Trump is going to not leave. He loves that line. He's not going to leave. And right behind De Niro are two paid actors pretending to be police during January 6th. And they were known to be paid to pretend that they were fighting these domestic terrorists on January 6th. And Robert De Niro doesn't even know that. He's standing with two actors. Isn't that insane?
And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will.
There it is. He'll never leave. How's that working out for you? Never leave.
He'll never leave. You know that. He will never leave. What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life? I hope this new ad campaign reaches outside the bubble to remind.
By the way, that horn honk is deliberate, and you can see it's messing him up. And he didn't memorize his lines. Dude, you showed up to set without your character rehearsed. I'm a little embarrassed for him here. It's not his greatest performance, but it's funny. He's trying to get through the noise. It's really funny. That horn honk is on purpose. Make no mistake.
Supporters of what a danger he is to our lives. This is not a threat. This is a reality. And that's why I've joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president. Really. We don't have a choice.
I thought it was a democracy. Oh, we don't have a choice. I'm so confused. I don't understand with this guy. We don't have a choice. Got it. We have to save our democracy of having choice by not having a choice. Got it.
On January 6th, while Republican lawmakers despicably tried to keep the loser Trump,
Meanwhile, there's two paid actors behind him that were compensated to pretend to have their lives in danger on January 6th. He doesn't know that. We looked into it. That's been checked out. We already covered this. I just wanted to give you guys an oldie but a goodie. But that's De Niro up to his old Trump derangement syndrome. And it's too bad he can't use his status to do some real activism and really say something against the war machine. Do something with some courage, like a Susan Sarandon or a Mark Ruffalo. Although Mark Ruffalo voted for Harris, but he is 100% doing the anti-war thing right now. And we need more of that. We need more people willing to get fired by their representation here in HOLLYWOKE than doing the safe thing that De Niro is doing. Well, now he has to apologize. Probably he's going to have to apologize for the Nazi comment, which is so ironic because we know that, if anything, it's Zionism that is hooked closest to Nazism, but he's never going to make that association, and certainly the mainstream media will not as well. But they definitely did a disservice to De Niro, bringing him on the show and letting him run his mouth, because that's how, like an old grandpa running his mouth, that's how he's sounding now. And if you want to further on Robert De Niro being an old, crass and rude and off the wall grandpa character, go see the movie Grandpa. It's actually really, really bad. If you want to see De Niro at his worst, go see Grandpa, and that'll pretty much sum up what we're watching in real life. And that is this week in HOLLYWOKE. Okay. Got you guys' comments here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to do as much as I can here. I'll play the intro in, and I see that you guys, thank you so much for your engagement. One more plug for the platforms in case you want to get something last minute in on the De Niro topic or whatnot. These are the platforms we're on for Talking Back, The Homeless Left on Rumble and X, THL Presents on YouTube, and Matt Weinglass on Twitter X and on Facebook. I think this is the last time we're going to do Facebook. We're going to probably start a new account, a Homeless Left account on Facebook or something. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Not so much feeling the Facebook stuff. Let me get my camera resolution adjusted. Okay, I think that should do it. Yeah, it's been a little weird on the resolution today, but I think we're good now. Okay, we'll go ahead and take some of your guys' comments and respond on Talking Back. I'm gonna have to do it myself this time. No Jamie, no Leslie, but you guys will roll with me. We'll do this. Here we go. Welcome to Talking Back. Today we had Craig Pasta coming into the studio. We did a little talk on Venezuela, amping up the war machine. It doesn't matter who's the one in office. We always have one objective, and that is push American imperialism, the U.S. war machine, the Greater Israel Project, and of course, the propagandist media is there to protect the people in power and keep us divided. And that's the game, no matter who's in charge and who's in the presidency. But we already knew that. You guys already knew that. We covered a lot today regarding the NoKings protests. We had an update on the Charlie Kirk, some censorship going on in Utah. We also did a little HOLLYWOKE. There was a little Trump derangement syndrome going on with Robert De Niro. So that was funny. Also, Israel just keeps breaking the ceasefire. They just keep killing people, and the mainstream keeps protecting them and keeps lying about it. And that's unfortunate. And that's why we're here. So let's hear what some of the stuff you guys chimed in on. Let's go closer to the top here. Here we go. Ed Rams, thanks for tuning in on Rumble. No King was a sham. Anyone see the woman attacking a free Palestinian flag holder? I didn't see the attack. I'm sure it's there. There was so much controversy. We saw Medea Benjamin's post about it. Actually, let's play that one again because I want you guys, if you missed it earlier, this is anybody who thought that pro-Palestine was welcome at this event, you'd be hugely mistaken. And if you were to show up and say Ukraine is a proxy war, you'd also be run out of town. You could not do any anti-war messaging at NoKings. That was by design. So here is Code Pink's experience being harassed at NoKings protest. Here we go. Took me a second. Okay. For those of you guys who missed it, here it is.
Oh, it's about our demand. Don't put your hands on her. Don't put your hands on her. News is just going to take a beautiful picture of this and paint us all as, like we're
pro-humanity, pro-anti-genocide, pro-humanity.
Right, but it's the wrong. You're at the wrong event, dude.
I don't think so.
I'm sorry.
Why do you think this is the wrong message here?
Because this is No Kings. This is about the United States. This is about our democracy. Don't put that thing on. It's about our democracy.
Don't put your hands on her. You're in a public place.
Okay, don't.
You're in a public
I'm
place.
just saying.
If you don't want to talk to him, you just went up and yelled at him. Whoa.
And by the way, I just want to say that the bombs haven't stopped. I just watched 11 people get massacred this morning, and Israel has violated the ceasefire dozens of times, as we knew they would. So that's also why we're out here.
Why was that woman so hostile to you?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm just out here for humanity and for Palestinians who are still being genocided, still occupied. There's still apartheid. So to be honest with you, I'm baffled. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I guess she's pro-genocide. No King's pro-genocide.
Seems like, yeah, exactly.
Yep, that's it. That sums it up. And I'm glad this one's been making the rounds. But no, anybody telling you no, they were all welcome. They weren't. They weren't. That wasn't the billionaire's plan that funded this thing. So just to clarify that part of it. Okay, Wishigo chimed in here. British Palestinian Dr. Ramed Alawan was arrested this morning by UK police. She's being punished for opposing genocide and exposing Zionists. The UK police. This is like, honestly, guys, if you haven't noticed, and thank you, Wishigo Sam, thank you for sharing all the updates on the UK police overextension arresting protesters. I know you were one that got arrested the previous weekend. Anything going on in England right now is going to happen here in the US. They're the litmus test. That's how it works. So this is not okay. We'll look more into this. Thank you for sharing that. And as Leslie said, yes, that's effing insane. Thank you for sharing that with us. We'll look at it some more. Yeah, that's it. Teddy from YouTube. F Trump. Thank you for that. Teddy. One more from Wishigo. No Kings. LOL. Abolish the non-existent U.S. monarchy. Yeah, it is it's funny that they couldn't figure out a slogan. They couldn't figure out demands. We know that successful protests have demands. Palestinian protesters have demands. It was to defund, right? Divest, right? There was a list of 5 or 6 demands. If you looked close at it, you'd see it. And you should be able to articulate that. Not everyone's going to be able to articulate it, but there will be people that can vouch for it and represent it if it's there. If it's not there, no one's going to be able to do it. They're going to be all over the place. They're going to think it's impeaching Trump this or Orange Man bad. That's our demand, but that's not actually a demand. So that's the kind of language we get. Very disjointed, very emotional, but nothing concrete. And that was by design. So, we might have an issue. So Jamil, thanks for coming on Facebook. Wish you could get the live on YouTube. It's only showing old. That's so weird. So you got to try typing in the full address because the homeless left on YouTube is been terminated. This is what we're going with now. So you should, if you type the full address in, that's youtube.com/@THL presents. Try that and see what happens. Hopefully that'll work. Okay. Moving on. Airways. Yeah. Ryan, grim job, obstructionist specialist. Yeah. Look, I'm not taking away from any of the bad work. He's done some really bad work. It's good he's talking about Palestine. He's pretty slow at reporting. He's actually doesn't really have, they say he's got a face for radio, but that wouldn't be true either because his voice is very dull. So he doesn't really work on he has a face for the computer typing stuff. That's it. And even that, but it was good to see him on with Matt Gaetz. I thought that was a good thing. We like seeing people from different areas coming together on the same discussion. It's good. It's good that people tune in and go, whoa, that's weird. And then they get more interested and curious. Why are they talking? I thought that they're not supposed to talk. So that's a good thing. But thanks for that. Let's see what else we got here. Leslie says, yo, pasta. Airways, Jewish supremacist psychopathy. Yeah. And we get told there's certain things we can say and not say. We're supposed to say Zionist, not Jewish. But Jewish supremacy is a thing, just like white supremacy. Oh, you can't say white supremacy. So you can say white supremacy. Why can't we say Jewish or Jew supremacy? We can say those things because it's a offshoot of the thing. And so unless somebody tells me that saying white supremacy is racist against white people, if you can pull that off, then this would be wrong. But yeah, go ahead, go for it, Airways. It's an actual thing. It's an actual thing. So let's not pretend that it doesn't exist. That's weird, right? That's weird. Oh, thank you, Wishigo. Great job on Moats. I didn't realize that Pasta had not been on there. That's insane. I just assumed he's been on everything. And having this opportunity, he told me, dude, like, he told me he hadn't been on. And it was like really cool that I got that opportunity. So I'll have to put a word in for Craig and get him on there too. But yeah, it was a great opportunity. It came out of nowhere. I took it, and we have to look out for each other in this space. And sometimes it's just luck of the draw, and it's just a fluke, and you happen to be available, and it's last minute, and you do it, and you hit it out of the park the best you can. And that's what I did. So thank you for that. You guys can go to Moats. That's George Galloway on YouTube. You can check out the full show with Garland Nixon subbing in. I come in the 20 minutes in or a half hour in or something like that. The segment's up also on its own, so you can just look from. They kind of pulled my face and put it on one of the thumbnails. So you guys can check that out. A lot of people have seen it, and we're getting good reaction. So it's very cool. Appreciate that. Yes, Airways. Majority of Americans now side with Palestine. U.S. media doesn't. That is for damn sure. Thank you for that. Let's see. All right. Appreciate the comments. Emergency podcast. Yellow Matt. Thanks for tuning in there. What else we got here? Oh, thank you, Gonzo Johnny. Looking good there, Matt, but got to compliment Pasta on his newfound fitness. Great to see. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. I'll let him know. Oh yeah, Ed, listen, as far as health is hard, man. I'm going to tell you what I do. I do some intermittent fasting. It's something I'm just getting used to do. I don't even think about it anymore. Like today, for example, it is 3 p.m. here in LA, in California, 3 p.m. on the dot. And I have, if you want to ask me what I've eaten today, the answer is nothing. Nothing yet. I'll probably not eat for another 4 or 5 hours, to be honest. I don't really need anything. I got little drinks made up. This is a little water with a little lemon flavor. This is the extent of it. Take a few supplements. Supplements I learned about during COVID, like vitamin D, zinc, B12, quercetin. What else? B, C, D. Vitamin C, obviously C is good. That's it. That's all it is. And some water, lemonade, tea. I try not to do too much coffee, but that's it. I don't think about it rest of the day. And then I have a nice full meal later for dinner. And try to keep it on the healthy side, salads and things like that. Try to, minimal amount of bread and just, try no sugar. That's actually a big thing. No, just cutting down the sugar very, very, very minimally. That's it. I don't have anything else other than exercise. Doesn't have to be crazy. Just get your blood flowing, get to the gym a couple times a week. Leslie and I do a home workout. There's improvement for all of us. We all can be on a track for something for the next step. Nobody sits still. If we're sitting still, we're moving backwards. So I always say this, we always are moving in a direction. You might as well be moving forward. Otherwise you're moving backwards. That's it. There's no stagnant. There's no sitting still. Sitting still is moving backwards. So keep that in mind and always be moving forward. What else? Julia MR YouTube, thanks for tuning in. RFK Jr. can't speak the truth and stay in his position. He should have stayed out of government and kept his integrity. Great point, Julia. There is no integrity if you're playing the political game. How many more times do we have to be proven right about that? Or if we thought the opposite, how many times do we have to be proven wrong? That is a real question. I don't know how many times we can fall for this stuff. Sorry, I had to do a little adjustment there. Okay. My face should be not blurry anymore. Okay. He should never have gotten involved. Stay on the outside, do bottom up organizing. I don't know what to say. To get in a position of HHS secretary, you have to compromise. It's obvious. There's no way around it. He obviously compromised. He sold his soul to whatever Zionist lobby. He sold his soul in that confirmation hearing, going in the back of the room, saying, I won't do this. I won't do that. Give me the job. I will leave mRNA alone. I will smile and wave and hug Albert Bourda, Pfizer CEO, when he comes into the Oval Office. I will try not to frown, although you might get one little shot of me frowning. I'll mostly keep my smile the whole time as Trump tells him he's an outstanding human being who put the public before his own wallet, which is a complete and total lie. We know this. Julia MR knows this. Thank you for that. And that could have gone a long way if he heard you a year ago or 2 years ago. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. I like this from Gonzo Johnny. Politics ain't real. It's a fake show. Meaningless. Hence, why nothing ever really changes. I think the few times it does change, it is a bottom-up movement. It's forcing politicians to do something. That's the only way you can get anything done. You force them. You have to force them. What does that look like? It might hopefully be nonviolent resistance, but most likely it's actual revolution. I don't know. That's the only time we see things change is when people are willing to put their life on the line, not just their words, right? Not just their words. But let's try and have a little hope left. Let's not be. I don't want this channel to be a channel of nihilists. The nihilist hour. What's the point, right? Let's try and stay positive. But it's a good assessment of politics. Thanks, Gonzo Johnny. It's hard to argue that. Zootzilla, free Palestine. Yes. And Airways, yes, Zionists demonetize themselves, those pieces of crap. Oh my God. Let's see. Oh, we have Lauren on YouTube. In 2013, Trump stated a government shutdown means the president is weak. Since then, he became the person who was president during the 2 longest shutdowns in U.S. history. Well, again, this is Trump doing Trump. He can maneuver, position, repackage, figure out the catchphrase. He's a game show host. He's very good at that. That's why they chose him. That's why they chose him. If anyone can backtrack and repackage something, it's Trump. That's why he was chosen. But yeah, good call on that. Good call. And we do appreciate Due Dissidents rating our stream. We got it right as Craig Pasta was leaving. So appreciate you guys. If you're still hanging out, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you can know when we go live next time. Thank you, Bonzo Beans, for bringing people. I know you're the one that brought him in. You are hooking us up because it's about bringing people together. And you know that DD, they're our boys. And man, I would love to be a guest on their show. We had Keaton's been on with us twice, actually, which is awesome. But yeah, we could hopefully figure something out with them in the near future. But very cool. Thank you, Bonzo Beans, bringing the crowd here. Whoa. What else do we got? Yep, that's correct. 7 Sword Mary, friggin' U.S. death cult healthcare. That's pretty much where we're at. What else we got? Oh, we have yeah, this is true, Airways. The militant trench is a complete fabrication. That doesn't actually exist. There are trans activists, the ones that fly off the handle. They're very loud. You see a lot of those kind of, I would say, unhinged. I would say unhinged over deranged because it's not. We shouldn't be evaluating their mental, but unhinged behavior for sure. But it is not militant. It is not militant. That is a fabrication to push that Antifa threat. It's very effective too on the right. It's a very effective packaging they do with that. Unfortunately, it works. Just like on the left, it works to package the January 6th domestic terrorists, the gun nuts trying to take down the Capitol, even though they all forgot their guns at home that day. Oops, they forgot to tell us that part. They all left their guns at home when they were trying to do an insurrection, and they're like the most gun-loving people on the planet, the Second Amendment gun nuts. Interesting. I guess they all had temporary amnesia during that as they were going out the house that day. Just oopsie, I forgot my gun. Anyways, yeah, both sides are very effective at creating the villain on the other side. Not just the villain, but the dangerous villain. That's what it's about. You can't just have us hate each other. You have to have us afraid of each other. Oh, that's it. So, of course, it's militant trans. Of course it is. Of course it is. Okay. Okay. 7 Sword Mary, don't need to gag press if you gag all witnesses. But if you include press, you're sending a message, right? You're sending a message that if, and this is just, we could, like you guys know, like the signs they post, like this could be a fine up to or jail time of this. These are threats. I don't think anybody in press is going to be held in contempt or a fine to the Utah courts but including press in it is sending a message saying, you better be careful when you're reporting on this because you're playing with fire. That's the message when you include press, when you're presenting this gag order. And we've never seen one presented at this level before that is insinuating that including 3,000 people, all the families, and then I think the press and associates are in quotations, associates. What is that? It's so subjective. It's so subjective, but it's certainly sending a message. That's what it is. That's what it is. Method, thanks for tuning in on YouTube. His wife is too smiley. Yeah. Well, we're not allowed to. We're not allowed to criticize the grieving process. Everyone grieves differently. Erica Kirk has her own way of grieving. So don't you dare criticize how Erica grieves. If she chooses to grieve with a smile and a laugh and a bouncy, everything's great, and she's looking like she's having the best time of her life, that's her choice. That's her choice. But we are interested in the paper trail of her ties with Israel. We are very interested in that, and we're going to look more into that. So, but yeah, kind of smiley, wouldn't you say? Kind of smiley. Yeah, and as far as the Mossad, this is proof we needed to blame it on Mossad, Matt. And like this is the proof we needed. You know, we have a bunch of it. It's not just, that's the thing. That's what's so frustrating is that we have a bunch of proof, some of it more tangible than others, but proof, evidence, these are words that aren't, they're not, they don't cover the whole territory. There's types of proof, types of evidence. Have you guys ever heard of evidence that's insubstantial or inconsequential? So there's labels of, but all of it constitutes proof. All of it constitutes evidence, and some of it to more degrees than others. But to say we don't have any, that's not cool. We don't have any proof. We don't have any evidence, and we have it. How substantiated is it? It's something you would, if you would submit in an honest courtroom. There's a conundrum there. There's an oxymoron. Honest courtroom. One would think you could submit all of your evidence, and then the judge can rule whether it's admissible or not. But it is evidence. It's item 1, exhibit A, exhibit B, exhibit C. All of that is evidence. All of that is proof, just to various degrees. But you throw it all. You throw the whole thing. As Joe Rogan once said, you throw the kitchen sink at it. That's what you do. And that might be the kitchen sink, what we had today. For sure. Okay. A few more, and I'll read the rest at the end, but we have one more segment we want to do. One more segment. Let's see. Oh, Utah people can go sign up under civil lawsuit. Interesting. Good call. Good call. America First, PHL. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, take the matter in your own hand, especially if you were there. If you were at Charlie Kirk's assassination, you should fight back on this. And you should, by the way, you should do as many interviews as you possibly can. All of y'all. Do it. Why not? And yeah, people will accuse you of trying to get attention. Do it, because we know it's more than it's, you could be trying to get attention, or you would have done it by now. If you haven't done it because you're scared, fight the fear. Go do it. If you see us, if you know somebody that was there, contact me. You guys can DM me on Twitter. You can email me. The email's on the YouTube page. I'd love to have one of these students at the Utah University on the homeless left. If you're ready to talk, let's do it. Let's do it. Despite that gag order, as Candace Owens says, she's going to be first to break it. Let's have a discussion. Anybody out there has contact with somebody that was at the event, we would love to talk to them, just to defy this so-called gag order, just to say we are allowed to have a conversation. What was your experience like? What happened? What did you see? What did you not see? What were people saying? How did you feel afterwards? A lot of great discussions we could have. I would love to do that. So let me know. So reach out to me if you guys know anybody that was there and wants to fight back against this so-called gag order going on in Utah right now. Okay. Here we go. Another news blip from Wish Ago. Oh my gosh, it's always bad news with you, Sam. It's always bad news. This week, Starmer ordered mandatory anti-Semitism training for NHS staff. Today, his police force arrested. So we already, yes, this was, okay, we reported this earlier. Thank you for that, Wish Ago. But the part about, so the Palestinian doctor, British Palestinian doctor, was arrested. But it seems that before that, earlier this week, Starmer ordered the mandatory anti-Semitism training. Wow, it can't get much worse over there in the UK. Can't get much worse. Yes, Ed Rams, F Hollywood Peds. Yes. Yes, De Niro, get it going. I love this idea. We need a Holocaust Harris / Genocide Joe 2028 campaign. Bobby De Niro, put that together for us. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see it. If not just for the content, we'd love to see it. Let's see. We'll do yeah, it sounds like De Niro is just a Zionist POS. And freedom for Palestine, mass exodus, baby. Let's end on that. I promise to throw up the rest of them on the outro. We will be right back with our final segment. Thank you guys for being part of Talking Back today with Matt. We will be back with our next segment right after this. You know what? Let's play this one. If you guys didn't see, I'm going to play this one from last week. Kind of funny, actually. This is Kamala Harris's book campaign. We'll be right back. Check this out.
When Kamala Harris asked me to be the ghostwriter on her new book about the 2024 election, I knew I couldn't turn her down. This was going to be a chance to tell her story in her own words. And of course, launder her image and make a ton of money, like a ton. The key to any great political memoir, what I like to call the ABCs. A, acknowledge there was a mistake. B, brush off your responsibility in the mistake. C, call out someone else for making the mistake worse. I am a loyal person. During all those months of growing panic, should I have told Joe to consider not running? Perhaps. So here we turn Kamala's lack of conviction into a positive. Anyone with half a brain could see that Biden was turning into silly putty, but she didn't say anything because of loyalty to her boss, which is exactly what people want in a Democratic politician. Kamala's advance for the book was reportedly in the neighborhood of $20 million, which is a pretty good consolation prize for losing the presidency to a fascist. I'm like, let's spend that money before he throws us in prison. No, it's fine. We're rich. We won't go to prison. A lot of people point to that infamous interview on The View that was the turning point that lost Kamala the election.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
And so we knew that when she went back on to promote the book that she would have to address it.
I didn't fully appreciate how much people wanted to know there was a difference between me and President Biden.
We actually knew that Biden's poll numbers were in the toilet and that voters desperately wanted us to break with him. But then his team reminded us that if we did that, none of them would be able to get jobs again. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback on the TV appearances. People are loving this book tour so far.
To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay is hard to hear.
No, that's not what I said. It made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
It's a very simple concept. She didn't discriminate against Pete because of his sexuality. She didn't choose Pete because his sexuality was a liability. Big difference. Between you and me, I told Kamala we didn't really need the Buttigieg section in the book because it was another example of her appearing indecisive while also virtue signaling. And she was like, I need to appear like an ally. And I was like, I hear that. I feel that. Also, my commission check had cleared by that point, so I didn't really care anymore. What can I say? That's why people in the biz call me Clorox, because I'm so good at laundering. It's a brand of bleach and detergent. What else did they want her to do? Have a Palestinian speaker at the DNC? Support an arms embargo to Israel, the one demand of the uncommitted movement and the hundreds of thousands of voters they represented? She didn't have the power. Who had the power? I don't know, but it wasn't her. The big idea I want readers to come away with after this book is that the campaign just didn't have enough time. 107 days were, in the end, not long enough to accomplish the task of winning the presidency. It's the greatest excuse of all. That's why it's the title of the book.
All right. We're back. We are back. Welcome to Homeless Left. It's been a good show today. We got a lot in, guys. You can always go back and watch it if you came in late, and we'll have the segments up for you as well. Yeah. This one, I think you guys are gonna like this one. We haven't done a pharma update in a little bit, so let's do it now. We're gonna call this, and we also have some unfortunate what do you call it? These died suddenlies. What do we call them? I don't like conflating that with the COVID stuff because they're completely separate issues. Just so you know, we want to make sure they're completely separate. But sometimes we do like to put them all together in the same segment. So we're gonna do that for you guys right now. Hold on, here we go. Just setting this up. Oh, I gotta change the banner as well. Okay, here we go. I like doing this segment. This is kind of one of my favorite ones, is doing this just because it's our way of dealing with horrible shit, and we're able to do it with sometimes a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic humor. It can be a good palate cleanser, I think, sometimes. Okay, I think we're good to go. Without further ado, let's change that banner back, and it's time for some We Know What It's Not. Here we go, guys.
But the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
But this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
The conspiracy theory about this related to vaccine, you're right.
We have to really move at the speed of science.
Doctors are baffled. They're looking into it. They're on the case. We just have to be patient while we try and figure out what the hell is going on. But one thing they can tell us right away with 100% certainty, and that is, we know what it's not. Okay, let's look at some of the unexplained, unaccounted for deaths we saw. I'm going to throw one up to start, just so you guys can see. This just keeps happening. I don't understand why. None of us know why. We have no idea what's going on. But Erin Elizabeth, Health Nut News, and she's been awesome, by the way, on the medical freedom movement front for the last 5 years. She's been very good. Former Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Oakland Raiders star, running back, 36, Doug Martin, has died. His family has announced, and they have given no cause of death. Of course, that's natural. They don't want to tell us any information because that's not cool. We shouldn't really know why. That's important that families can protect that. Do you know what he had in common with all the others? Please say below if you can see this, as I'm censored, and we have to do that these days. But yeah, there is one thing he had in common. I'm not willing to guess it right now, so I'm just going to let that one go and just let it be. But I'm going to take this moment to check in with Dr. John Campbell, who's going to remind us that at least one COVID shot are people that have at least one shot of the COVID. That includes one of the first two, or the booster, or the whatever, second, third, fourth booster. Having one, you are 34, and this is according to him, not me, not the Homeless Up. I'm just reporting. You are 34% more likely to get colorectal cancer, and 54% more likely to get breast cancer, and 62% more likely to get bladder cancer than unvaccinated. That would be people who didn't take any shot of the COVID, safe and effective. So go ahead, take it away, Dr. John Campbell.
Well, a warm welcome to this talk. Now, there's been concern for some time now from talking to various experts about the increased risk of cancers, probably all types of cancers or many types of cancers after COVID vaccines. Now, of course, we're deprived of data in the United Kingdom between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. We just can't get that information freely. But there has been a study done in Italy. And what this shows is increased incidence of cancers 6 months after COVID vaccinations. Now, let's look at where we got this from. This is from this paper here, Experimental and Clinical Sciences Journal, peer-reviewed, of course, made publicly available. You can download the PDF. The full paper is there. So people that had vaccinated with at least one dose, their chances of getting colorectal cancer, the hazard ratio was 1.34. In other words, 34% more likely to get it. This is at a 6-month follow-up. Breast cancer, 54% more likely to get breast cancer in the vaccinated group. Bladder cancer, 62% more likely to get it than the unvaccinated group.
Just sharing the data, not going to comment on it, but I appreciate John Campbell's analysis. He's always been good on the numbers. Numbers are good. Numbers are our friends if we take them seriously and don't play tribal politics, and certainly don't look at science as a church that you just believe in, like faith. Once you start doing that, that's a problem. That's a massive problem. But we did just get some good news this week in the Maha community. Nothing as far as policy goes. Anything that RFK Jr. is doing, it's kind of crickets right now. We don't hear anything good or bad coming from his camp. But look what's going on elsewhere outside of the administration. We did get this piece of good news. According to this document that was released by the Alliance of Indigenous Nations, that's the AIN International Tribunal, they're saying on record, and this is coming this week or 2 weeks ago. This was October 8th. You see the date on this. This tribunal finds and hereby declares that the COVID-19 injections, mRNA injections, or mRNA nanoparticle injections are in fact biological and technological weapons of mass destruction. This tribunal finds and hereby declares that the COVID-19 nanoparticle injections or mRNA nanoparticle injections or COVID-19 injections meet the criteria of biological weapons and weapons of mass destruction according to the Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act of 1989, 18 USC 175, Weapons and Firearms 790.166, and the Florida Statute 2023, Canada's Biological and Toxin Weapons Convention Implementation Act of 2004, and the International Biological Weapons Convention. This order and declaration is intended to have immediate worldwide effect. Issued on this day, the 8th of October, 2025. And that has the great seal of the AIN Tribunal stamped on it officially. And I guess, based on what I hear on Western media outlets that are promoted by Pfizer and Moderna, they will tell us, if they ever even report on this, they will tell us that the AIN must be a bunch of nutty, anti-vaxxer, science denier, MAGA Trumper Nazis. That's what they will tell us if they want us to know about it at all. But I'm going to go with they're just going to ignore this part of the story. That's what's going to happen. And it probably already has, because this was 2 weeks old and I haven't found anything about it on mainstream at all. And this is why we need Twitter to not go away, because this is the only way we were able to find it. It's on Twitter. That's it. Okay. We're not ending the segment just yet. I told you guys we did have some other reports. Let's just call them reports of unexpected medical emergencies. I'm just going to go through a few of them. These are just random. They have nothing to do with the thing I just showed you. Nothing to do with Dr. John Campbell. Nothing to do with any of that. I just want to be absolutely clear. I'm just reporting on these incidences. That's it. Okay, here we go. Beloved comedian Steve Bridges dead at 41. Popular TikTok comedian Steve Bridges has died. On Friday, Bridges' wife Chelsea announced his death on an Instagram video stating he passed away peacefully in his sleep on October 15th. The comedian, who was a fan favorite for his point of view sketches on social media, was 41. Well, that's about the age when it happened. So, you know, we just got to tough it out and get used to it. Shit happens. The Illinois Police Department confirmed to TMZ that officers responded to a report of a natural death. As we know, 41 is a very normal and natural age to die in your sleep. Peacefully, might I add, at his private residence on Wednesday. Bridges amassed over 2 million followers on TikTok and Instagram through comedic sketches. He often portrayed exaggerated common personalities like solar panel salesmen, deadbeat boyfriends, and kids at public pools. Well, I guess we won't be able to see any more of Steve Bridges' comedy. But hopefully there's a nice archive. You guys want to go back and check him out. See if the guy, I didn't have time to look at his work, but I'm sure he was funny to some people. He will be missed. And that'll be enough said about it. There's nothing else needs to be said. I think that's the point. Because dying in your sleep at 41 with natural causes is perfectly normal. And there's nothing else that needs to be talked about. So moving on. Cause of death announced for young motocross star Aiden Zing. Now, Aiden Zing, you're a motocross star. What are you doing in this list? I'm sure they figured out it was accident related, because that's what happens when you're a motocross star. You have little accidents on your bike. That's probably what happened, right? An official cause of death has been released for up-and-coming motocross star Aiden Zing on Monday. Well, he's not up and coming anymore. That's weird. That's a little weird on the wording. I would say former up and coming motocross star. 16-year-old athlete. Man. 16-year-old motocross athlete died while racing. Oh, so it was a racing death. He was just racing. He had a bad accident. That's probably what happened in the Mammoth Lakes, California, back in June. Look how long it took. They figured it out in October. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that they take how many months to tell us what? What did they come up with? It set shockwaves throughout the spot. He was an up-and-coming star who died far too young, clearly died far too young. On Monday, TMZ Sports finally confirmed we got the verdict. The verdict is in. And Zing's cause of death, the up-and-coming motocross star died via a traumatic heart injury during the middle of his race. Because that's when you have heart attacks, when you're racing a bike and your heart can just have an attack, especially when you're 16 years old and you're an athlete. That sounds totally normal. And there's nothing more to look at. Besides, they spent 4 months figuring this out. So what more can we do? What more can we say? We shouldn't do or say anything else. That's it. The work has been done. The IDF investigated itself, right? And the conclusion has been made. All right, next story. Oh, this one. This is the same. Sorry, this is the same one. So, according to TMZ Sports, Zing wrecked his bike, was found face down by paramedics. He was found unresponsive with no pulse and not breathing. The emergency services performed included AED, CPR. They were not able to revive him. And then the official. So he had the heart attack, and then they list it on the death certificate as cardiac tamponade hemopericardium due to a dirt bike accident. Well, somehow I think they got the order wrong. I think you have the cardiac incident and then you crash your bike. That's kind of the order it happens in. That's kind of the order. Just wanted to clarify in case they accidentally got the order wrong there. Because heart attack, bike crashes. That's how it happens. But I'm sure they did. That was just a mistake. Just like they said he was still an up and coming motocross athlete. Okay, he's not up and coming anymore. And the bike accident happened after the cardiac arrest. Okay. Oh gosh, another athlete. Runner dies at finish line. Oh my God. London half marathon. Well, I'm sure he wasn't healthy and he was out of shape, and I'm sure he was eating poorly and he just wasn't taking good care of himself. As we know, most runners of half marathons don't really take good care of themselves. That has to be what happened. The man who collapsed at the finish line, half marathon, the event organizer said he collapsed. His name is Corey Russell. He was part of the Royal Parks half marathon in central London on Sunday when he became unwell in Hyde Park. Organizer said Mr. Russell received specialist medical treatment at the scene before being transferred to a hospital by ambulance. The cause of death is currently unknown. Oh. Well, maybe the family will look into it. They want to know. Well, the family has requested privacy and no further details will be released in accordance with their wishes. That tells me the family knows what happened and doesn't want anyone else to know. Of course, they are telling us the cause of his death will be established later in a post-mortem examination, organizers confirmed. Oh, they did? Did the organizers confirmed? Well, let's see if the family's okay with that, because they said no further details will be released. So we'll see who wins that battle between the family and the organizers. But we'll be waiting here patiently. But we know the one thing we know for sure, because we don't really know what happened to him. It could have been eating too much. It could have been, I don't know, a piano landed on his head. We don't know. But one thing we do know is that we know what it's not. Okay, next one. A 13-year-old girl collapses at a movie theater. Oh God. Oh God. Was it a movie theater shooting? Do you remember when we used to talk about movie theaters being a place where gun assassins or these mass shooters, these young mass shooters would maybe choose a movie theater. And that was a worry. If you guys remember that was a worry. Well, now there's a whole new worry about sending your 13-year-old girl to a movie theater. She's not going to get shot in a mass murder. She's just going to collapse on her own, because that's what happens to 13-year-old girls when maybe it was a horror movie and it was so scary. I don't know. I'm just guessing here, but okay. So let's see what happened. According to People, a family's mourning the loss of her 13-year-old daughter after she collapsed, suffered a cardiac arrest while at the movies. They didn't tell us what movie it is, but I'm assuming it was a horror film that's like really, really scary. So her friend called the dad and said, Casey's passed out. The dad runs to the car. The cinema is a half a mile, so he got right in. He went there. The emergency personnel worked on her for 2 hours before transferring her to a local hospital, according to the dad. And they said she had suffered a cardiac arrest, noting that she had issues before. Oh, well, that's why. What are we so concerned about? She had issues. And if you have issues, then you're kind of on your own when it comes to us being in shock, because that's good that the reader of People knows that the girl had a few issues. Well, now we don't have to be concerned anymore, because people with issues end up having cardiac arrests in movie theaters because they have issues, right? Okay. I feel much better about this. I don't feel like it's unresolved. I feel like it's pretty much been wrapped up because she had issues. So thank you for clarifying. Oh boy, we got a stomach ache. The stomach ache strikes another kid. This is a super fit student. It's a tragedy. Super fit student dies after a stomach ache. A super fit young man died in his university hours after saying he felt unwell. Joshua Adifa, 20, found unresponsive by his brothers on September 2nd, only weeks after starting Manchester Metropolitan University. The accounting and financing student had told friends he had an upset stomach. Oh boy, Joel is Joshua's twin. Oof. Ooh. The twin brother told the Manchester Evening News the night before everything was perfectly fine. Then as time went by, he started to get sick, and that's when the symptoms started to show. At that point, he wasn't taking it too seriously because it was all under control. Well, I guess it wasn't. That's really, really bad. Okay. Now we're getting in. There's a couple more you guys got to see here, because now we're getting into one, and we've seen a bunch of these. More young people, by the way. More young people. We're doing the young people, guys. Kids. Remember the kids we had to protect during COVID? Make sure they were double, triple masked up. Make sure we shut down their schools. All of these kids who are dead now, just so you remember, they all had 2 years off of school. They had to be home for school and do it on Zoom. Some of them very young had to do Zoom classes. Do you guys remember? 3-4 masks. Get your shots so you can get back to school and get back to your education. But it took like 2 years to do that. Do you remember that? Do you remember these kids being deprived of face-to-face contact? Some of them wouldn't take the masks off when they went back to school. Do you remember? Now these same kids, completely unrelated. I just want to be very clear, completely unrelated, contracting meningitis now is very, very lethal, apparently. Very lethal. So when you think of meningitis and you think of a young person getting it, think lethal. It's worse than AIDS at this point. That's what we're talking about here. High school senior dies after contracting meningitis. An amazing young man who will be missed. High school student has died after contracting meningitis. Not COVID? I thought COVID was the killer. Or measles, right? No, meningitis. Okay. Ryan Duffy, 18. You know what that means? That means Ryan Duffy, when he was a freshman and sophomore in high school, he had to do that on Zoom. He didn't have a freshman year of high school. I just want to be very clear. Ryan Duffy, who's now dead, did not have a freshman year or a sophomore year at school. He had it on Zoom. So that's the lead-in to junior year and senior year. That's the lead-in. Or maybe if I did the math wrong, it's 8th grade and freshman year. Certainly freshman year he did not have. He did not have freshman year. That was on Zoom. He was a senior at Neshami High School in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, after contracting the illness roughly a week ago. He was rushed to the ICU for treatment, where he eventually succumbed to his symptoms. ABC News was first to report the news. A counseling team will be made available to provide support for staff and students in the aftermath of Duffy's death, per the letter that went out to all the students. Very traumatic for everybody. One more meningitis. One more. This one really caught our attention. My vaccinated son asked me if he was going to die before the virus killed him. What virus are we talking about here? Another 16-year-old, Levi Slyer, was just a regular teenager hanging out with his buddies after school until next he was in a life or death battle. On September 23rd, Levi returned home from school complaining about muscle soreness. Just a few hours later, he was rushed to the hospital where he tragically passed away. Mrs. Sire Peterson notices purple blotches appearing on her son's face and body before he was incubated to drain fluid from his lungs. Levi's devastated family was then informed that his heart was failing, with doctors performing CPR on the teenager for nearly an hour and a half. He died from sepsis triggered by the lethal bacterial infection meningococcus type B. less than 24 hours after he first started showing the symptoms. Meningitis fatalities have risen in the UK. Really? When have they risen? Fueled by an uptick in Men B infections, there was a substantial jump in 2022-2023. Well, that's weird. And a surge in Men B infections among kids age 1 to 4 is also worrying. So when he got vaccinated. He got vaccinated for meningitis, ACWY, which I guess is different than the Men B. So he got the shot, but it didn't protect against the next strain. So there's always new strains. Damn it. Why are there always new strains? So if I get a flu shot for one thing, it's not going to protect me against another. If I get a COVID for one, it's then you have to give me another shot, and then the next strain, and then I got to get another shot, and then Oopsie. Didn't get the next one. Got the other one. Didn't get the Men B. Since 2016, UK has been vaccinating. Good thing they've been vaccinating infants against Men B, but some people were left out. He was left out of vaccinations. Well, now the good news is Levi's mom is pushing parents to ensure they understand the dangers of not getting the vaccination. A lesson well learned. More vaccines. That'll solve the problem. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. And one last thought, just to include this in the segment before we end the show. COVID-19 mRNA vaccinations implications for the central nervous system. Peer review study. Let's look at what was included in the study. The first one on the list of severe outcomes. Meningitis. Bacterial or viral. Oh, shoot. So the thing that the kids are getting, that they aren't getting the up-to-date vax, but they thought they had the vax, but they didn't have the vax. This is also a side effect from the COVID vax. What? Wait, we're not supposed to conflate those two things. So whoever did the study needs to be canceled immediately. We don't want to know. We'd rather wait patiently for the doctors to figure out what the hell is going on. They're working on it right now, tirelessly. They are baffled. They're confused. They don't know what's going on. They'll get back to us when they finally find out. But there's one thing we can tell ourselves for sure while we wait, 100%, we know what it's not. Okay, that is the show for today, guys. Thanks for tuning into the Homeless Left. We got done just under the 4-hour mark again. Actually, we did much better this time. I think we're technically looking at 3.5 today. That's good. I prefer 3.5. I don't like going the whole 4. It starts to feel a little like we're in some weird trance. I think we made it just in time. Yep. Yeah, we're heading. We just hit the 3.5-hour mark because we started late. But thank you guys for tuning in today. We had a great time with you guys. I'll throw up a few of the comments that have come in the interim when we put up the final outro for you. I want to give a huge thanks to all the new audiences. Welcome if this is your first time watching the show. If you found us on Mott's over the weekend with Garland Nixon on George Galloway's show, go back and check that out. That might have been where you found us. Or you might have been with the DD boys at Do Dissidents and come on over from their stream during our, I guess you call it a Rumble raid. So we appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You'll get notifications when we go live again. We're on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week, all afternoon. Looking forward to having more discussions, challenging the war machine, challenging the Greater Israel Project, challenging American imperialism, the two-party duopoly, the uniparty, fake news, big pharma sponsored propaganda, Western media, media machine designed to keep us separated and at each other's throat, not just living in hate and anger, but in fear of each other. Let's break that mold. Let's break that division, and let's start punching in the direction that we were meant to punch in, and that is up. Thanks to Craig Pasta coming in today, and all you guys out there watching. We'll be back Thursday. Jay Scott will be on. We have some guests. We might have a guest or two to announce beforehand. So we're looking forward to that show. We'll see you back here. We will be actually covering some AI happenings. Jay's has done some good work on that. We're going to bring that to you guys. And in the vein of AI, which is an ongoing problem, we didn't really get too much of it today, other than the RT spoof, which was really fun. The RT put out that spoof. Happy 20 years to RT. By the way, happy 20 years. As they made fun of Western media with their AI video. Speaking of AI, on the way out, here's a little interview that happened yesterday. It's Ryan Cohen, the CEO of GameStop, and he's giving us a very, very not effing around warning about AI. So enjoy this. Listen to what he's saying. He's 100% accurate, and he's being 100% honest about it, and we need to take it to heart. So that's it for today. Until next time, remember, always go at the world with courage, with conviction, and above all else, principle. Power to the people, and free Palestine. We'll see you next time.
When it comes to AI, it's a big problem. At some point, the computers are going after the humans. And I don't think it's that far away. I think that the sci-fi movies, when it comes to AI, I feel it. I feel like there's going to be a big problem when it comes to artificial intelligence. And at some point, it's going to be the computers against the humans, China versus the US. Who's going to be the winner? Who the fuck knows? But we got big problems with AI, and it's interesting because you can't stop human innovation, and we've got this insatiable appetite to go into these technologies like artificial intelligence that are very disruptable. There's lots of money that is being poured into it. But what the future looks like, we have to be very, very, very careful. So artificial intelligence, it scares me. I mean, I like the productivity benefits, but AI, once the robots come after us, scares me.
What's your timeline there?
It's faster. It's faster than I would have thought. When I look at what's happening, I don't buy into emerging technologies. But when I look at the advancements in AI, this is no joke. And we have to be very, very, very careful about what's going to happen in artificial intelligence.